probably safe to say that in 1937, when J.R.R. Tolkien first released The Hobbit, even he was unaware that he was becoming the godfather of a generation. It's well known now that the hit board game Dungeons & Dragons was heavily inspired by J.R.R. Tolkien's sequel story, The Lord of the Rings. Only a short few decades later, the story The Lord of the Rings would make it to the silver screen and launch the high fantasy genre into the mainstream forever. I'm James Hawkinjos, and this is The Rewind.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Hey guys, this is Jimmy, and you're listening to The Rewind, presented by House of Hats Podcast Network.
Your scientists are so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they just stop to think they should.
Never tell me the odds.
The Rewind.
The Rewind.
The Rewind.
It's showtime.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of Season 1 of The Rewind. Today we do a movie that doesn't have cigs inside.
No cigs
But
inside.
there's plenty of pipe smoking.
Plenty of pipe smoking.
There is pipe smoking inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're right. We're still with it. We're getting it.
I was actually going to make that reference before. Like I was planning on making that reference. I went into it fully knowing I was going to make that reference.
So this is going to be the final episode of Season 1. We'll be taking a little break. Not sure how long yet, but we know at least until the end of the Super Bowl before
That's a
we
nice
start
break.
and go forward with Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a good segue because Season 2 is going to be all book adaptations.
Oh.
Are we doing comic books too? Is that going to be included? Graphic novels like V for Vendetta?
Sure.
Oh.
I told you still have 2 picks.
I know. I have
You
to.
still have 2 picks.
I know.
And Gage still has 2
I
picks.
know. One of them may be The Losers.
Good.
I love. Yeah.
Good.
I love The Losers, and we've talked about how good.
We've seen it's a good one.
No, we've talked about how good of an adaptation I think it is because I've read The Losers.
I'm pretty sure on this podcast we've spoken about it.
Oh yeah.
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim. Listen, it's always a circle, not a square. You know?
Life is like a
triangle.
circle.
So we
Balance.
will be finishing The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
We will be doing all 8 Harry Potters.
Mhm.
We will be doing Ready Player One.
Probably.
And
I
I
mean,
forgot the other one I had already picked. And then we have a few more to figure
Mhm.
out. But it will be all book
I
adaptations.
think Batman and Robin might be on that list too.
Batman and Robin was supposed to be episode 16.
I know, but
Brandon was in town. And it's easier to get a hold of Brandon than Big Whitey, who has a kid. And
No offense, Big Whitey.
No. It's he's going to be here on the first for the
For-
Death of Kayfabe anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll
No.
talk to him about it then.
By the way, if you guys are going to do V for Vendetta, you know you have to do it on November 5th, right?
We might be able to line that up. I'll have to. I honestly, we haven't really played around with the season 2 timeline yet because
Remember, the 5th of November.
dude, oh god, I love you from Vendetta so much.
I
I love a great
I
anarchist
just
film.
love Hugo Weaving. He's just a god.
Yeah, I mean that too, but I love a good anarchist film.
And I think that film credits Padme, Natalie Portman, with bringing back the sexy woman with the buzz
G.I.
cut.
Jane. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the
Mhm.
resurrection of G.I. Jane cut. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She pulled that off. I remember seeing it in the tabloids. Natalie Portman shaves her head for V for Vendetta. Has she gone crazy?
Well, that's the thing too about shaving your head is that if you shave your head as a woman, you
Britney Spears.
are and that's the thing. You're going to learn if you are a true beauty or not, because you think Demi Moore shaved her head and she was stunning. I mean,
Yeah,
stunning,
she looked
because
good.
all her features now are being shown off. And then the same thing with Natalie Portman is like she had an innocence to her and this like doe-like look to her, and she really was very pretty. And there are a lot of women who wear their hair buzzed. Typically, you're like, wow, like that's a beautiful woman because you just see their features, so
Thug
their
Rose.
eyes and who?
Thug Rose, Nami Yunus,
Yeah.
UFC fighter.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Even Ruby Rose.
Yeah,
She had a buzz at
yeah,
one
but
point.
Ruby Rose also just has that androgynous look to her.
I mean, her cheekbones are phenomenal. If I could take her cheekbones.
I'm just going to pretend like I know what her cheekbones look like and just nod and agree.
She does have like very high defined cheekbones.
Yeah, stunning face. She's very angular. But anyway, totally off topic on
Yeah,
that.
so today we're tackling the first in the Lord of the Rings series, The Fellowship of the
Mhm.
Ring. As Brandon pointed out last week, when was the 20th anniversary? Was
December.
December 19th.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was.
But I would like to say, I do kind of think that this film could also be called Lord of the Rings. How many times does Frodo get stabbed? Because
It's only
like,
twice.
I know, but it's like so major.
No, but so
It feels like it happens more.
Well, the
So-
first one is super major.
I know.
take it like to take it a step further. What I was thinking about while I was watching it today is not how many times does Frodo get stabbed. How many near-death experiences does Frodo have in this? Because that number is about 6 or 7.
Yeah, that also crossed my mind, honestly, too.
Yeah. I
But-
mean, comes with the territory of adventuring, especially with, the precious cargo that he's
Yeah.
carrying. So
Yeah, and also, too, I kind of feel like, well, actually, no, let's do it now. I feel like this is a giant D&D campaign.
Well,
Because
I
I understand.
I mean, Gary Gygax, I don't think has been shy about the fact that he was heavily inspired by Tolkien, and a lot of the themes in D&D are from Tolkien.
Yeah, which makes sense. But my feeling about I was watching it today, and it was literally like when Frodo gets stabbed, when he has the chainmail on, it's like he rolled like a crit fail, and it's like, but he already had this armor, so your dungeon master's looking at it like, well, you don't die. But you freaking crit failed, so you're down and out for the rest of the battle, and the rest of you are like, oh damn, like
Yeah.
you're down
Yeah,
a person, And then too, when like the demons coming, I also like when all the demon like minions are around them, that felt like, all right, you all literally rolled natural 20s, and now the dungeon master's like, I still need this battle to happen because we need to see this big guy because that's where the treasure is. We used to do it to Jared all the time. Remember, the three of us would roll nat 20s, and then he'd be like sitting there trying, like flipping through the book, be like, all right. So somehow something freaks out all the demons and or the goblins, and now they scurry up the walls, but there's a bigger monster coming. Roll for initiative.
Yeah.
And don't roll nat 20s.
Oh, I wasn't sure you were talking about the goblins.
Oh,
the goblins, yeah.
The goblins.
The goblins, they scurry up the walls, and then the big
After
demon
the
comes.
when the Balrogs come in.
Yeah, the Balrogs. Yeah,
The whole Moria scene
yeah.
is
I mean,
literally a
it's great.
dungeon.
Yeah, it is. It
It's
is.
literally a dungeon.
But yeah, no, I was thinking that as I was watching that, and I think it's part of the reason I probably love it so much. It's also probably part of the reason I got into Dungeons and Dragons.
I think
because
for a lot of people, it's a gatekeeper for fantasy.
it's
Like
yeah,
a lot of people, they're like, oh, I kind of want to get into the fantasy genre. Lord of the Rings. Like that's the first thing that's recommended to them because it sets the
It's a-
baseline for so many other fantasy
Mm-hmm.
movies, books, games. Like all of the themes that are involved in it they come up everywhere.
yeah, and I also do feel like too, it's probably one of the most perfect fantasy films.
Oh, yeah.
Scale,
Yeah.
look, feel, characters, storyline, everything. Like it really does. It no matter when you watch it or how old you are when you first see it, like it will always hold true to being just a classic film. And it really is a classic at this point. I mean, we're
Absolutely.
20 years now. I think we could
Yeah,
put that
2001
label.
apparently was fucking lit for movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, big year, big year. And
Big
actually,
year.
what's funny too about 2001, which I was thinking about with this film, is
Ooh.
there's a weird thing about like 2001 to like 2002-ish movies, and I'm assuming it's a camera thing. I think there's a similar camera, but I felt it like with watching this, there was moments that brought me back to Gangs in New York.
I'll tell you right now, like why the 2000, 2001, 2002 seems like this crazy year is because I wish I knew the movie. There's one specific movie that comes out I don't remember. There's one specific movie that comes out in either 99 or 2000. It could have been The Phantom Menace, which was also
99.
another movie that George Lucas saw where he said the CGI is up to date. But a lot of people had scripts they've been working on.
No, you're talking Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park is how
That
that Jurassic Park with E.T., right?
no, George Lucas saw Jurassic Park and said, "I can now make the Star Wars movies."
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if it's the Star Wars movies, but there's something around that time where people had these screenplays that they've been working out all throughout the 90s where they were like, oh, the CGI is ready now, let's go.
Titanic?
Because this movie, they started writing this movie in 97.
It could be
I feel-
Titanic.
I
That was
think-
98.
No, I feel like it could have been Titanic. 'cause
Yeah.
That ship, I mean, I remember seeing that movie in the movie theaters and the ship looked so real.
Yeah.
I thought it was a legitimate ship that they had rebuilt.
It's on what Cameron did with that was amazing. That holds true to
Well, that
all
dude
Cameron's
spends so much
film.
money on all of his movies.
They
so.
call him the Ocean Master.
He found the Titanic. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he works with National Geographic. Like he does those types of things. Probably the reason why he wanted to do the Titanic. But
I meant more. They call him the Ocean Master in like his tendency to shoot on water.
oh yeah.
Like in
yeah, he loves it.
what's that one you love so much? I can't think of the name of it right now. Where it's 3 different timelines with Tom Hardy.
No, that's Christopher Nolan.
Right, Nolan. That's Nolan.
Yeah, no, and that's Dunkirk. But yeah, Dunkirk
But-
is also shot on film.
I don't know why I was thinking that
water.
one's also shot on water, but
Yeah.
it is Cameron. They call him the Ocean Master.
They call him the Ocean Master because that's what he does. He dives deep into the ocean and finds like literally sunken shit. It's awesome. It's really cool. I've seen a bunch of his documentaries, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on the VCR, like tape edition,
which was 2.
which was 2. I'm pretty sure at the end of the
Yeah, it was in 2.
It's 2 tapes. At the end of the
That's
second,
amazing.
at the end of the second tape, I'm pretty sure there's like a mini documentary, isn't there? Or am I tripping?
No, actually, I think you're right. I
Something
think there
like
might be. Yeah.
For our potential younger viewers out there, 'cause
Oh,
we're
right,
really
yeah, we
right
gotta-
around the tail end of this,
Mhm.
and we're just shy, right around 30 or just shy of 30
Yeah.
in this room. There were these things called VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
It was about a 12 by 5 or 6 inch big cassette, and it went into a VHS player, which you would hook up to your TV, and it had the film on it, and it would play you the movie, and that's how we would watch movies back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Titanic was such a long film, and there was so much film in the cassette, it required 2 tapes. So it came in a 2-tape box set.
Yep.
And one of the only movies I remember being that long that was on 2
Color
tapes.
Purple.
Don't even know what that is.
Yeah, Color Purple was actually on 2 DVDs.
Yeah, I remember when DVDs first came out, they had that issue, and then Blu-ray came out, and they're like, we're good.
Yeah. No, The Color Purple is a really long movie. But crazy story. I mean, again, we're moving off topic. With James Cameron, though, do you know, either of you know how he pitched Titanic?
Romeo and Juliet on a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, he walked in with the picture. That's one of my favorite stories. I'm like, I the ideal level to get to, I feel, would be Cameron being able to do that. Like,
Just
you know
walk
you
into an
made
exec's
it.
office.
Yeah, you know you made it when you're walking in with a picture and someone else's work. And you're saying, I'm going to make this.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
How funny is it that Leo DiCaprio was in 2 Romeo and Juliet movies? Because he was in Romeo and Juliet, and then he was in Romeo and Juliet on a boat that sank.
yeah, and then he was also
He was in
in
Romeo and Juliet with guns, and he was in Romeo and Juliet on a boat.
That's her gangs
Yeah.
in New York, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was also in Romeo
Well, he was
and
the
Juliet.
heartthrob of that era.
Oh,
so.
no, I wasn't even talking about Gangs in New York. I was straight up talking about Romeo and Juliet with him and
That might be one of mine, actually.
it's called it's the Romeo. Who did it? Why can't I think of his name? Who did it?
Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and
Yeah,
Juliet.
that's one of my favorite movies of
Where
all
they
time.
literally have guns and it's called like a sword .99. Like that's the name, like the or a sword 44 caliber.
Yep, and it takes place in like
Those are
Santa
the name of
Monica.
the guns.
That's wild.
Yeah, you've never seen it?
Nope.
Oh, Brennan.
Yeah.
Homework assignment.
Okay. No,
So next
I'm
time
on
you're coming
vacation,
back, it's
so.
for Baz Luhrmann.
Have to. Maybe we'll hit up V for Vendetta that
It's all-
vacation too. Then.
It's all modern day Santa Monica, California, with the guns and all that. It's fucking the dialogue is as Shakespeare wrote it.
Oh,
It's
that's
very
cool.
interesting, yes.
Yeah, that is really cool,
It's
actually.
amazing.
Okay.
It's
all right.
really amazing, and his cinematography in it's phenomenal. It's a very '90s feel.
Speaking
It's like
of
Vice
cinematography.
City.
They're having a shootout at the gas station, and
Yeah.
and they're talking in Shakespearean. It's just
So
a great.
you remember the first fights, like literally the opening scene of Romeo and Juliet, right after the original monologue, and that's that. I don't bite my thumb. It's do you bite your thumb,
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
sir? I don't bite my. I do bite my thumb, but not you, sir. Whatever it is, I can't remember the exact lines. That's at a gas station. So they
Oh,
pull
nice.
up in like Monte Carlos or something like that, like crazy nice cars, and on the like the license plate will say Montague or whatever, like the hanging cross that says like Capulet or something like that. And they that whole dialogue
then
scene happens.
That's
He
actually
says, "I
incredible.
draw my sword on thee," and pulls the gun out, and it freeze frames, and on the side of the barrel
Yeah, it
it says
zooms in.
"sword 44 caliber." They zoom in on the gun.
Yeah, in that Baz Luhrmann way.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's really good.
But speaking of Baz Luhrmann, the other one I was going to say is Great Gatsby. That's another Romeo and Juliet storyline that
Essentially.
Dicaprio was
Yeah,
in.
essentially.
You know?
In the
It's
roaring
just
20s.
Leo.
It's, I mean, Leo is
It's
Leo.
Romeo.
I mean, he
He's
is-
Romeo.
He's
Romeo DiCaprio, baby.
Romeo DiCaprio.
I
Yo.
wish I wrote that, but I didn't. It just Into my brain, into the mic. Didn't even think twice about it.
All right. Well, I think let's start with like personal feelings.
Yeah, I'm
first
gonna take the
views.
reins. I'll go
Okay.
first. I'm almost positive I know this to the date. I believe it was New Year's Day, 2002.
Oh,
Whole family went out to see The Lord of the Rings. Good movie going experience, but again, 2002. I'm 93, so I'm 9 years old.
mm-hmm.
Terrified the entire time that orcs were gonna overrun the movie theater I was in. As a young kid, my cousin had me in her phone as Orc Boy because I was like traumatized by the Uruk-hai. But then by the time Two Towers came out, I was over it. But at the time, that was the first time I saw it. Definitely terrified of the orcs. Definitely brought me into the fantasy genre. Although I can't even, because it's Star Wars is fantasy, right?
Sci-fi.
It's
It's
sci-fi.
sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
I would.
Because Star Wars is part of my life since I was born.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I could say Lord of the Rings brought me into the genre.
I would say Star Wars is a combination of sci-fi and some fantasy elements. Lord of the Rings is just straight up high fantasy. Like
Yeah.
it's just a high fantasy
Mhm.
movie. There's really no sci-fi in it at all. It's just magic and swords and
Awesomeness.
awesomeness. Yeah. It's yeah.
Awesome sauce.
That was my first experience with the film. Definitely love these films. I was originally thinking about giving this a something in the high 8s.
Mhm.
Then I watched it today and I was asking myself the question, is this the greatest fantasy film ever made? Or, as a whole, definitely, but I just mean this specific one. And that just asking that question alone brings me up to a 9-0.
Ooh, good score. Okay.
Okay.
It's not my favorite of the three.
No, it's not my favorite 3 at all. Like I'd have to rewatch Two Towers and Return of the King. It's been a minute since I've watched them, but I feel like growing up, Two Towers was definitely my favorite.
Showers is a solid movie.
Two Towers is awesome.
I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of the three. You could pick.
yeah, I mean, even
whichever
the
one.
Hobbits. If you throw in the Hobbits, too, the Hobbits are fantastic.
Ew.
Oh, I love the Hobbits. I mean, 3's a little. It doesn't have to be 3 movies. I will give you that.
just
It could have
normalized
been
it.
done.
Okay.
Do it again.
Mm,
Okay. I guess we're not.
mm,
Anyway, moving on from that. I think I actually didn't see this one in theaters first. I think I saw this like as a bootleg,
Mm-hmm.
like
Same.
on one of those DVDs.
Like an actual bootleg DVD?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like
I
bought
know
from the city.
for a fact I saw Return of the King on a bootleg. And
Yeah.
it wasn't a great copy either.
No.
But we
No.
watched that motherfucker.
Yeah.
We didn't care.
Yeah. No, not at all. When you do ever care, especially if it's that good of a movie, like
Yeah.
Troy, I remember heads popping up, like when I watched Troy.
Oh,
Troy's
there
one-
were heads popping up
Yeah.
in the Return of the King copy I watched.
Yeah, Troy is one of my favorite movies too. But anyway, with I don't think I saw it in theaters, and I don't remember when the first time I saw it. I do remember very vividly sitting with Bob and watching the bootleg version before going to see Two Towers with my grandparents. I do vividly remember that. So, but also, I got a lot of concussions and some CTE going on. I don't remember a lot. So that doesn't matter. But I think this is one of the greatest fantasy films of all time. I mean, and story-wise, yeah, we could argue there's earlier films that fall into that category, but as a whole, the cinematography, the storyline, like I said, I kind of did this already, but also the way Peter Jackson handled CGI, where, for a 2001 film, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It really, I was watching it and going, this holds up today. Like, it really does. And it's because of his use of practical with CGI. He didn't
Mhm.
rely on the CGI like a lot of 2001 films were doing. He relied on practical and then blended it seamlessly with the CGI
Mhm.
to make a masterpiece. And something that I think will hold up for, I mean, I would
mean-
argue forever, honestly. It's
It's definitely his blending and his relying on the practical effects
Mhm.
because like the battle of Helm's Deep in the Two Towers, it's all people.
Yeah.
It's all extras.
yeah. They had to call in
And
more.
this is at a time where the Star Wars prequels were coming out and they just did the clone scenes with all CGI.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he saw that you could do it and still said, no, we're just going to hire a couple of hundred extras, put them in the orc garb and the elf garb, and we're going to have a big ass party.
Yeah, I mean, it matters.
It does matter.
It shows in this film. I feel like you could show in that type of argument where like practical, like the practical versus CGI argument, I feel like this is the film you show to say, no, this is why it matters.
Mhm.
Because look at it in 2021, and there's no questions. I mean, this is amazing. But
I feel like if this movie was made in 2000, actually, I'm not gonna finish that statement because I don't think that's true anymore. I was gonna say that maybe in 2021 this movie would be made with majority CGI, but I feel like with movies like Dune and some other movies,
yeah,
they are trying to go back to this idea of blending special effects and, you know, practical sets and costumes as much as they possibly can because they realize how much better it makes the viewing experience.
yeah.
Although, I mean, you couldn't do Ventures with practical effects, really.
Well, you know, it's funny. First off, I knew you were gonna say that, and I think it's that's how long we've been friends that I could have read your mind there. But I immediately went to Dune.
Yeah.
When you were like starting that sentence, I immediately thought, no,
Yeah.
Dune is
Even I mean, as a hot topic as the movies are, even Force Awakens did a good job with that too. They did a ton of shooting on the ground in Jordan, like all the desert
Not
scenes.
speaking of that movie.
What?
Not speaking of that movie.
Okay, well, the effects and stuff were incredible,
Mhm.
whether you like the movie or not.
That's how I feel about that fucking trilogy.
Okay.
No, not anyone. But anyway,
To answer that question, this doesn't get made as a movie in 2021.
nah.
It
No, it gets made as a TV show.
It gets made as a 10-part, 10 episodes a season, 3-season limited series, something like that.
Yep.
On streaming.
100%.
HBO, Netflix.
I
Amazon.
think Amazon is in works with the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's a prequel, I'm pretty
That's
sure.
how
Prequel,
that's
right?
how this would get made if it was made today.
Yeah.
Very good point. It probably wouldn't be a movie. You're right.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Because
that
they
too.
instead of spending what they spent on this movie, which we'll get to, but instead of spending what they spent on this movie to try to cram everything into a 3-hour movie, which at the time is a little crazy, and then even the extended version was 3 hours 48 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
They would never do it. They would be like, we're going to slice the budget down by 25% and release this as a 10-hour, 10-part
Mhm.
series.
I mean, even too, like, even if you were just to take what the movie is, you got 4 episodes right there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's kind of wild. Because you could even just do it like if you were just to release just Lord of the Rings miniseries, limited
Yeah,
miniseries,
limited
you know?
series.
You need 12, 15 episodes, something like that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of ways you could do it, but
What's your score?
Yeah, give us a score.
Yeah, I'd
I
probably
pull
put this
back
at 8-8.
Okay.
in.
Yeah,
Alright,
I thought
fair
it. I
enough.
thought it last night when I started it, and then finishing it today. I kind of stuck by my 8-8. I mean, it's fucking long. It's fucking
Worth
long. No, it is. It is, but it is one of those things where I am looking at my watch, going, Jesus.
You don't need the extra. You don't need the extra 49 minutes. I'm telling you right now, you don't need it. I watched the regular version today. You do not need the extra 49 minutes in the extended version. 2 hours 59 minutes is long enough.
Yeah, it's a long movie. It's a long movie, but a lot happens.
It does.
So
A lot does happen.
Not mad at it.
Mm-mm.
So I give it an 8-8. Move on to you.
So I think my first time with this movie actually wasn't when it came out. It was a long time after. I got into like Lord of the Rings and stuff way later. I want to say high school. So
Really?
yeah. Like I had known about it, but it never really was something that I watched. And then we were at my grandparents' house, and my cousins were visiting from California. And we were just, hanging out, and it came on TV. And it was Two Towers, I'm pretty sure. So I technically watched that one first. And then after watching that, I went and watched this one at home on my own. And I'm pretty sure I torrented it. Like,
Yeah, that would make
back
sense.
in 2009, 2010.
On the last episode, we gave a little shout out to 123 Movies.
Yeah.
That's where Brian watched Superbad for the first time.
1, 2, 3
It was on
movies.
123
1, 2,
Movies.
3
Yeah.
movies.
I think I
Good
torrented it
times.
off of Pirate
Pirate
Bay.
Booty.
Pirate Bay.
It was Pirate Bay? Oh, it was Pirate Bay. That's
Pirate
right.
Booty is a snack food.
That is a snack that I was dealing with today.
Pirate's Booty is a delicious snack.
It is a
There
good
was
snack.
behaviors over it last night. It was a whole thing.
But I think that this movie is the bar for anything high fantasy as far as a movie is concerned. Because if it's a TV show, it's a whole different animal. Like if it's a miniseries, there's plenty of high fantasy series that have come out since then. But I think as far as a movie is concerned, it has definitely set the bar. Like, this is minimum if you want to even be considered one of the greats. I do think that the extra 49 minutes are totally worth it. I will disagree with you there. I think it adds a lot of world building to the entire thing. It may not be essential to the storyline, but I think a movie like this, I prefer a more detailed world because I care about the events more rather than the characters. So it's like, you know, it just adds to the story for me personally. And so I don't watch any of the theatrical versions. I strictly watch the
Right.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Already there.
Part of the reason too I bought the extended versions because
Yeah.
I was like, why would I not?
Yeah, I'll take the
You know?
extra 49
Yeah.
minutes. You know, it just deepens the lore and stuff like that. And I'm a nerd, so
Well,
extra
it's like,
49 minutes.
I'll put it this way: like, you look at the Snyder cut,
Mhm.
it needed all that extra time.
Yeah.
It made it a better movie. It took it from being a like mashed up piece of garbage that it was all over the place with not a lot of direction into a
Seamless.
clear
film.
story, like a seamless story
Mhm.
arc. The theatrical release of the Lord of the Rings doesn't have that problem. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
It's like you can still effectively tell the story without that
Yeah,
extra
of
48
course.
minutes.
Yeah, that's what,
For me, I was with you on 8.8 for theatrical, but with the extended edition, the extra 49 minutes bumps it up to a 9.1 for me.
9-1. Yeah.
Mhm.
See, I feel like as a nerd, I need the extra 49 minutes. But I feel like as a filmmaker and as like a critic, it's long. It makes it a little too long.
Which is
and
why
then-
it wasn't released that way.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
It was released
Exactly.
for the fans, for people who wanted that extra, world building, that
Also,
extra stuff.
that extra 48 minutes could be the difference between one or two extra showings per theater,
True.
Mhm.
per
Mhm.
building per day.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
You know?
100%.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, when it came out, it had to have been one of the longest movies that I think people even considered.
Oh,
It
at
was
the
like
time,
3 hours,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, we have some classics that run fairly long, but no one in 2001
By
had
the
sat
time-
through those.
By the time
Yeah.
we were at 2001, this is like really where we're kicking in gear with the 95 minute movie.
Yeah.
Like, get it done in 95 minutes, and we're cranking them in and out.
Yeah, because I feel like 2001 Space Odyssey is definitely over the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
So like there's stuff like that, but again, huge fantasy sci-fi type of story with the massive world building involved in it.
Oh, also to point out what we were talking about before, one of my favorite parts of this movie is the costume design.
Amazing.
The costume design in this movie is flawless.
God,
and
it
throughout the
adds so
entire
much.
3-movie arc, it's just, I mean, the orcs, the Uruk-hai, the goblins, it's just absolutely absurd that is all practical. Like, that is legitimately a dude in a costume, and it looks so much better that way.
Mhm.
And I think if it I picturing them in CGI, just
It ruins it.
it just ruins it for
Yeah.
me. It's I'm sure the fighting may have been a little bit less clunky, but I like that because it made them feel like as big and brutish as they were. They're just super simple strikes. It wasn't, fancy. It wasn't flourishing or anything like that. It was just like, no, I'm going to try and fucking, smash
Yeah.
the shit out of you.
I have one goal, and it's for you to die.
Yep.
That's it.
Talking about the Uruks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're not here to fuck around. Like no. Like I'm coming in to kill you.
They're meant to be. They're the only orcs that carry short broadswords.
Mhm.
The regular traditional, or I mean specifically the White Hand of Saruman Uruks
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
are the only Uruk-hai that carry that short broadsword. The rest of them carry it's not a sickle. I forget. It's a lighter weapon. I forget
don't
exactly
remember.
what
wasn't
weapon
really
it is,
paying
but
attention.
yeah, so that's very much meant by design. Like, they're meant to be powerful, brooding, slow,
Mm-hmm.
just gonna take you by force in numbers.
Yeah. Do you want to take a quick break first, or because I could keep? I don't know. If
Yeah,
you
let's take a break.
Okay.
So let's be honest for a second. I'm wearing Saatchi di Dinero. This hoodie, this has got to be the most comfortable thing that I've worn in a while. So if you're going to wear this, make sure you wear it on Monday. Why?
Because it's motivated, money-making Monday morning, baby.
And if it's not Monday, you better make sure it's on a Friday.
It's Fresh Cut Friday on Fresh Fit Friday.
And we got codes for this the holiday season. What are they?
The code is Havoc, HAVOC, at checkout for 10% off your total purchase. That's SachiDiDinero.com. Brand new release, brand new arrivals, the new Sachi hoodie. It's got the logo embossed on the hood. They're available in clay and gray blue. You want to go get those fast.
Come on, go get it now.
Sachi Di Dinero, always authentic, never counterfeit. What is up, everybody? We are back. Still here talking about Fellowship of the Ring. Directed by Peter Jackson, as we all know. Screenplay was adapted by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and Peter Jackson. Story is obviously by the writer of the novel, J.R.R. Tolkien. Cinematographer, Andrew...
The way you said that. I know, it was just you.
Andrew Lesney. Editor, John Gilbert. Music, Howard Shore. Cast, Elijah Wood as Frodo Baggins. Ian McKellen as Gandalf the Grey. Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn Elessar II. Sean Astin as Samwise Gamgee. Sean Bean as Boromir. Massive Bitch. Billy Boyd as Peregrine Pippin Took. Dominic Monaghan as Meriadoc Merry Brandybuck. John Rhys Davies as Gimli. Orlando Bloom as Legolas Greenleaf. Liv Tyler as Arwen Undemil.
Oh, she's
Her name's
Everstar.
Arwen.
Arwen Everstar is what Kate Blanchett calls her.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett as Galadriel.
Galadriel.
Christopher Lee, Saruman the White, Hugo Weaving as Elrond, Ian Holm as Bilbo Baggins, and Andy Serkis as Gollum. Runtime, we did this already. Theatrical release is 2 hours, 59 minutes. Extended cut is 3 hours, 48. It's PG-13. Location, New Zealand, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bother getting specific locations, but you can get, if you look, you can get it online. Where Mordor was, where this was.
Yeah.
But
There's
it's all,
tours.
It's all
Yeah.
New Zealand. Release date. See, now this was, I think it was December 10th. It might have just did the premiere, but release date in America, which is what we care about, December 19th, 2001. USA. Budget.
Yeah, we're selfish. Budget. Oh, okay.
I mean, I saw the answer on the screen, so I'm cheating, but
Fuck you. I can't see
Did you
that
the
far.
next answer too?
Yeah.
Damn it. All right. So this is just you, Emily.
I'm trying to think. What Gaines
I'd
was.
say a lot of money for the time.
Yeah, no, so I'm trying to think of what Gaines was because I remember the struggle they had with Gaines, and I don't know why in my head I'm thinking 30 million for them, but I don't think it was that high for Gaines. It was lower than that,
I
right?
thought it was higher than that for Gangs.
Really? Was it higher than 30?
It's definitely higher than that for this movie.
Okay, yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 120 million.
Not that high.
90 million.
93.
Okay. See, shit, I should have won my first fucking answer.
What was your first answer?
90.
Oh,
In my
yeah.
head, I was like 90 million, and I'm like, nah, that's too low. Let me do 120.
Yeah.
Box
do-
office.
Oh, box office. Oh, box office probably blew 500 million.
$897.7 million.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which
I figured. it was-
Spider-Man No Way Home blew the doors off of that.
Well,
Or whatever.
Yeah, it's a whole
I
different
mean, adjusted
world
for
now.
inflation, that's probably
Yeah. Adjusted for inflation, it's probably
That's in the
crazy
billions.
numbers.
huge. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
in the billions.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I figured it was probably close to the billions, but I
And
was
so
like,
I don't know if you want to. I only have wins and nominations, but I don't have who they lost to on the noms. So I don't know
Oh,
if you
let
want
me
to
pull
pull
it
up
up.
the 02 Oscars. 2002 Oscars. It won for Best Cinematography, Best Visual Effects, Best Makeup, and Best Original Score. The noms were Best Supporting Actor for Ian McKellen, Best Art Direction, Best Directing, Best Film Editing, Best Original Song, May It Be, Best Picture, Best Sound, Best Costume Design, and Best Adapted Screenplay.
all right, so let me see.
Best Costume Design was, I was, when you were bringing it up before, I was about to put the brakes on it, but it just stopped on its own because I was like, we're going to have time to talk about that because it did get nominated.
Oh, nice.
What ones were we talking that
The
nominated?
nominations, well, I mean,
Give
I
me one at a
guess
time.
specifically right now, who'd they lose to for Best Costume Design?
Best costume.
Watch me something to whack.
Best costume. What fucking? Oh god, I hate this list. Hold on, let me go a different way.
And she's searched best costume 2002 Oscars.
Because I was just gonna pull them up, but not I have it here. Home. I was on IMDb, not IMDb. I was on Wiki and figured let me go to Oscar's website because they'll probably organize it better, and they do. Costume design. Oh, Moulin Rouge. That makes complete. No. That makes complete sense.
All right, fine.
Supporting actor.
Dude, honestly, I love Moulin Rouge. Actor in supporting role. Jim Broadbent and Iris. I don't even remember that.
No clue. All right.
Why do I have a vague recollection of the movie Iris?
Couldn't even tell you.
What won Best Picture?
Best Picture. I think that was a Ron Howard film. Let me say home. Best Picture. Oh, Beautiful Mind. Yep, Ron Howard.
Okay, and Best Adapted was the only other one I was interested in.
Best Adapted. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, I could select. Oh wow! Wish I knew that. Wish I knew that when I started. Oh, there we go. Adapted. Let's see. Beautiful Mind.
I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure that was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, A Beautiful Mind was one of those films. I mean, it still is. You still watch it today, and it's a pretty amazing film. So.
All right, fine, Oscars.
Yeah, I'll give that one to them.
One quick little fun fact / casting what if that I came across today while I was doing some notes. Aragorn originally offered to Daniel Day-Lewis. Turned it down, I believe, because he had a family thing. Was offered to Russell Crowe, who turned it down because he just did Gladiator and didn't want to become typecast.
Did he turn it? I'm sorry, Danny Day-Lewis turned it down because of gangs? Because that probably was
family issues.
Really?
I thought it said, yeah.
Oh, because gangs was probably around the same time.
A family issue with the traveling, and offered to Russell Crowe, offered to Daniel Day-Lewis a second time, and there was one more person, I can't think of it off top. Vinny Diesel. I tried out.
No way.
Big fan of the books. Tried out.
No, I believe that he's a nerd. But
when you got family?
could you imagine him trying to do an accent?
Instead of "you have my sword," it's "you have my family."
Yeah, you have my charger.
Yeah.
You have my Hemi.
Which, by the way,
imagine just Dom Toretto just mowing down orcs.
Get in. Finding Merry and Pippin. Get in. You know,
this would be one movie instead of three if Dom Toretto was in it.
Yeah.
They just fucking rip right through Mordor.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. It'd be 1 hour episode.
And then Viggo Mortensen was a stage actor, and his son was a fan of the books, and they saw, I believe, Peter Jackson saw him in a play,
Which makes
and
sense.
then offered it to him. Even after they offered it to him, I believe they went back and offered Daniel Day-Lewis the second time, and he said no again, and then they went back to Viggo.
Yeah, well, Viggo wasn't really a name. No, I mean, none of them really. I mean,
Orlando Bloom.
No, that's Orlando Bloom's first big one. I mean, what else was before? What was before 2001?
I don't know, but I knew who Orlando Bloom was before these movies.
Really?
So
Because
call him up.
I mean, Ian McKellen definitely.
well,
this
I mean,
not
that was
his first
I was
movie.
about to
Well,
say
yeah,
like
this-
it was like the older guys
this
like
movie also pits a great scene, which I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but I don't think it's a great scene for the movie. I just think it's a great scene for this reason. In the first act of this film, Pete Jackson pits Count Dooku against fucking Magneto.
yeah.
And it's amazing. Two Hall of Famers.
Yep.
I mean, also too, we were talking last night a little bit when we were watching this, and I said Ian McKellen is one of the best actors of all time.
He's a freaking sir. So
That too, but I mean, he's just that. He steals every single scene he's in my mind. Like every single line that comes out of his mouth, like there's a purpose for it.
All right.
Behind his eyes or emotion, whatever it be.
Quick sidebar: Mount Rushmore of great English actors: Pat Stewart, Ian McKellen, Christopher Lee. Who rounds it out? Give me the fourth.
Jason Statham.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me right now?
I said that specifically to get a response out of you, so thank
Well,
you.
it goddamn worked.
Tom Holland.
Oh,
No, honestly, Jesus Christ, I'm like Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is amazing. Tom Hardy is amazing. You put how many films do we only see his eyes?
All of them. It's like the joke now.
Yeah, well, sure, actually, but I mean, but even in like, honestly, even in Inception, he's phenomenal. He's a scene stealer in Inception. But I mean, like, there's a lot of classic actors you could throw on that list. But I mean, if we're gonna talk modern, I would argue Tom Hardy would be on
you're
my
like
list.
saying like still in the game or like still alive?
No, do still in the game. Do someone still in the game.
Is someone still in the game? I'm gonna say James McAvoy. James
Okay.
McAvoy absolutely
Both
nails.
Professor X is on the fucking Mount Rushmore. Huh?
But
I
I say
mean-
that whatever role he is in,
Hear me out now. Not yet. But Andrew Garfield is a incredibly underrated actor.
Yes, I will give
Yeah.
you that.
I will give
Incredibly
Yeah.
underrated actor.
Mhm.
And he was a great Spider-Man. The reasons those movies were bad were not his fault.
no, yeah, I agree.
He gave life to a rather uninspired script in the second one, in my opinion. And
I
now
agree.
I don't even want to.
Yeah, no
No,
spoilers.
this is coming out in another week. No Way Home would have been out for a month. Fuck yous all. Have you seen No Way Home?
Yeah, I've seen it.
All right. Now with the reaction to No Way Home, everyone's calling online for the Amazing Spider-Man 3. So maybe we will get to see
I
the
mean,
completion of that trilogy.
who's the villain?
So we'll do it quick because this isn't about this movie, but the post credits, the
Oh yeah,
deal
true,
with Venom
true,
and the
true, true.
symbiote, and then he
Yeah.
goes back. Everyone who got zapped there knew who Peter Parker was in Tom Hardy's Venom movie. There is no Spider-Man, at least that we know of. So the theory is that that's Andrew Garfield's same universe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go meet up in the Sonyverse, and Andrew Garfield's gonna be
Well-
Sony Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's gonna be Marvel Spider-Man, and that's how they're gonna do it.
Yeah. So back to Orlando Bloom. The first thing he ever did was called Casualty. The second thing was Wild. Then Smack the Pony, Midsummer Murders, and then Lord of the Rings. And then it was Black Hawk Down, and then Two Towers. So it was Lord of the Rings put
TV?
him.
Nothing in TV. I feel
That
like
is-
I knew who he was before he was.
No,
Legolas.
Casualty is a TV series. Smack the Pony was a TV series. Midsummer Murders TV series, but Midsummer Murders looks like something that was British. Honestly, I think that was solely British film. But those were the three TV things, and then it was Lord of the Rings was his first thing. Like that was his.
What a breakout role.
I mean, my God, like
What
that
year
made
was-
him.
What else was he in immediately in the years immediately
Ooh.
after that?
You want
Black
to talk
Hawk
about
Down.
great British actors that you could put on that Mount Rushmore? Fucking Gimli.
Oh yeah, yeah. Also, we could talk about, or if we go female, Maggie Smith.
Oh yeah.
Maggie Smith, amazing. Judi Dame.
Mm.
You know, there's a lot of
Judi Dench. Dame Judi Dench.
Dame Jude, yeah, I fucked that one up. But there's a lot of female British actors who you could put.
Julie Andrews.
Juliet, Kate Blanchett.
I was gonna say Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could even go Charlize Theron.
Isn't she South African?
I think she is African.
I think she's South African.
I honestly, I got away from British. I was just talking good actresses. I forgot about that.
Completely fucking blew
Totally
the
forgot.
parameters of the
I
exercise out the
completely
window.
forgot we were doing that. But Black Hawk Down he was in, and then it was the Two Towers. Then Ned Kelly he was in, and then Pirates, and then it was the Return of the King, and then Troy, pretty much.
What a
Troy.
run.
Troy. What year was Troy?
2004.
Yeah, I thought it was 2004.
Yeah, no,
That was
yeah.
the movie I was like, I'm
He's
pretty
a
sure
little
he was-
bitch.
No, yeah, definitely.
He is a little bitch in that
Yeah,
one.
of course.
Before, I don't know if you guys have any other little fun facts or if you want to look for anything or not, but before we get into it, I have to ask this question, and it's a two-parter. It's like a then and now deal. As a kid watching these movies, who did you want to be?
Legolas.
And now,
Yeah,
who would you
he's-
want to be?
You said Legolas, right?
When I was a kid, yeah.
Everyone wanted to be Legolas
I
when you were a
mean,
kid.
he's awesome. Now as an adult, oof.
Well, I never saw this movie as a kid. The first time I saw this movie, I was already like 16
All
years
right,
old.
but that's still like 15 years ago, bro.
Ew. God, I'm so
I mean that a lot has changed.
Yeah.
So
I think back then it was Aragorn, and I think
That's
now
fair.
it's Gimli.
Mm.
Gimli is literally just me.
Gimli is amazing.
Gimli
Honestly,
is
it would make
just
sense that I'd be
me.
Legolas because we'd 100% have a kill count going, and you would look at me and go, "Still counts as one."
Yeah.
But I think now, part of me goes towards Aragon. There's just something about Aragon who's amazing, but I also
It's a fucking king.
not even that. No, it has honestly nothing to even do with that. It has to do with no. I'm being dead serious. Like it has to
Not
do
even a
with
little bit?
him. No, it has to like that scene with him and Frodo when right after the issue with Boromir
Mhm.
happens, and there's that whole scene where he like glances at the ring, Frodo doesn't know what to do, and he just takes his hand and puts it to his chest and is like, I would have walked with you to like I would have went with you to Mordor, whatever that line is, which is amazing, and like there's just something about him as a character, not with like what his heritage is. It's just his character. I mean,
It's
his
very compelling character.
What?
Very compelling character.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing because I feel like even if you took away the king part of it, he's still that amazing character.
Mhm.
But
it's good to
yeah,
be the king.
it is good to be the king. I mean, this is kind of one of the only films where I'm not like crazy. I'm like in love with the villains because I typically love villains. I mean, I'm a big Cersei fan. Who doesn't fucking love Darth Vader? I mean, but no, not in the same. Like, I'm so rooting for the heroes in this movie.
Oh,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like
yeah, that's fair.
That's what
well,
I mean.
It's just like a lot of the best villains aren't necessarily the most evil or the most scary. They're the ones that are the most relatable because you can see yourself in that person's shoes.
Which is why Boromir is so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he's.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
No,
yes, he is.
No, he's a great character.
Boromir goes out. There's only one character in this entire series that goes out softer and more like a pussy than Boromir. Yes, I said it. And
that's his redemption.
The only person in this entire series that goes out softer than him is Legolas's cousin in the Battle of Helm's Deep. Just gets cracked on the back of the head with a sword. And he's the only person who has a softer exit than fucking Boromir. Boromir is he's like, you know how in the Aquaman movie, Idris Elba's character is like kind of a bad guy, but not really?
Mm-hmm.
That's Boromir in this movie. He's like the alternate fucking conflict. He tries to kill Frodo once or twice. He tries to kill Frodo.
Once.
Yeah,
once. But the thing about Boromir is
it took 4 arrows.
Wait, we're not getting into that.
3.
Let's get ahead of that.
Almost.
We're not, I don't want to go into that yet. I almost want to hold off on that because it's like I'm gonna talk for about an hour on that scene alone. But my thing with Boromir,
Did you just completely lose
it?
Yeah.
But is not walking to Mordor, or what are you?
No. Specifically about that scene when we were talking about it.
Also,
I got it.
Aragorn,
Back.
The guy who kills him, Aragorn takes him out in two fucking strokes, dude. 2 strokes of the sword.
Hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that. With Boromir is the representation of man. He is the representation of the
So is Aragorn. It's the dichotomy.
No, not in the same way. No, Boromir represents what those kings became. He represents the before. So we don't really see how these kings went mad with the rings and turned into the what are they?
Nazgul.
Yeah, the Nazgul. But like that's what Boromir is. Boromir is the before. Boromir is starting to have that ring drive him mad and see like everything. And plus 2, Boromir is he's the heir in a way, or the heir apparent to Gondor, because his father is the steward. So when his father dies, he will then become the steward and technically the king of Gondor. So there's also this there, but he'll never truly be king. Drives a fucking person mad because you're king in all sense of the things, but not by title, and you'll never have the respect of being king.
And he's like the little bratty kid with Aragorn's exile deal.
Right.
Where he's like, well, I'm technically not king, but you're not either.
Yeah, Gondor doesn't need a king.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll say it right now, that's one of my favorite scenes when Boromir dies.
Yeah.
From the moment
It's
him
okay
and
to be wrong.
yeah, it's okay to be wrong. It happens quite often. Can't always be right. But
It's not a bad scene. Boromir is a bitch.
no, I so disagree with that.
Took out like 40 orcs.
So the thing about Boromir is that like
His only job was to protect the hobbits. If you're gonna die, you die making sure the hobbits get to safety. He died and lost the hobbits.
but he
He
had
didn't even get
arrows
his
sticking
job
out of
done.
his chest.
He didn't even. Yeah, but so when he gets the first arrow stuck in his chest, at that point he makes a bad judgment call and thinks he's gonna stand there and fight them off. He doesn't tell them to run. Doesn't give them any direction. These fucking hobbits look up to these grown people. And they're all supposed to protect
stand
the
up for
hobbits.
themselves, man.
But also, I think too, he probably knew that Aragorn and Legolas were literally right there. So I think in his head, it wasn't that they were going to get taken. I think in his head, he's doing that horn not only to draw the orcs away from Frodo, but also to call Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli and
the
say,
whole
"Hey,
point of
this
that
is
horn."
where I am. Yeah, like yo, we need help here." And so I don't think he thought that far ahead. I mean, also you have to think too, like in an adrenaline situation like that. Your thinking is not necessarily clear. It can be if you're trained in certain ways, but his training is to keep going. So in his head, like, it doesn't matter. What is he going to do? Pick them up and fucking run? There's how many orcs there? Even if they were to run, they're captured. Actually, in reality, if Boromir, in Boromir's head, he probably thought they were safer with him because he thought he could buy enough time for Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn to arrive on scene.
Mhm.
You know, like that's how I look at that. I think that was a judgment call, and you could argue is not a good judgment call, but that's war. Sometimes we make calls, and sometimes people die.
So you think he would blow the horn to draw Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn to him, and just assume that they would let Frodo and Sam fuck off? Because at this point, they were still trying to be with Frodo. Frodo hadn't fucked off yet at this point.
Well, I think it's more
So
to
the
call
last
the
thing
crew him.
Aragorn sees is the five of them go one way, him and the two others go the other way.
Yeah, but
I
I
don't think the horn was.
think the horn was to
to
crawl.
get the rest of them to him.
It
I
is.
think the
No, 100% is.
That horn, the horn of Gondor, is meant to call for aid.
Yes.
So when he blows it, he's trying to signal, "Hey, we're we're being attacked. We need help. You know, come here. This is where we are." It's, they didn't have walkie-talkies back then, so they couldn't be like, we're in Sector 6. So he's got to blow the horn, but the problem is that everybody can hear the horn. So
And also,
you
too,
got a charging band of Uruk-hai and orcs, and they know where people are, but then all of a sudden they hear a horn blowing. They're like, okay, that sounds like where I should go. So
right.
Aragorn and Legolas are fighting off, like 10 of them? Boromir's fighting off like 50.
Yeah.
So you knew in that scene, as soon as it happened, like he was going to die. There was no way he was going to survive. Even the first time I saw this movie, I was like, this dude's fucking dead.
Mhm.
And he dies trying to defend Merry and Pippin as best as he can, because he knows that if they run, they're just going to shoot arrows at them and they're going to fucking die.
Mhm.
So he's got to sit there and fight, and then he gets shot with an arrow, but they don't shoot Merry and Pippin. They take them because they think they're carrying the ring.
Right.
Because they were told. They're told
Yeah,
to-
take the
Yeah,
halflings.
take the
one of the
halflings.
4 halflings has something very important to me.
And
don't kill
at
them,
this
leave them to
point-
us.
At this
Kill the
point, Frodo and Sam have already fucked off. They're gone. They're making their way down.
Well, Frodo's gone,
No.
but Sam hasn't been up with him yet.
Frodo starts to fuck off after the deal with Aragorn, and then by the time Aragorn gets and kills the, I guess, commander of that Uruk-hai tribe at the time.
Got with the hand.
Yeah, it's a
the
cool scene
one,
too.
the one who kills Boromir. At that point, that's when Frodo starts to fuck off. But you don't see him get in the boat and Sam go and almost drown trying to get after him until after they've already.
Boromir's dead already.
Boromir's dead.
I know.
He puts the
But they're
knife in
already
Sam.
on their
Yeah,
way, because
yes,
there's that scene of them
timeline.
running in the forest, and Merry and Pippin tell Frodo to run.
Yes.
They're going to
Yeah.
distract the Uruk-hai, so they go out with Boromir, because they were hiding originally.
Yes.
And then
they
they're
told
like,
Frodo to
oh,
come.
look at us. We're hobbits. Come take us.
Yeah.
Because they don't know which hobbit they're freaking looking for.
I mean, talk about that scene for a minute. The very nonverbal majority of it, specifically with Elijah Wood, but that whole realization, specifically in Merry, that oh, we're splitting up now.
Yeah,
like,
he knew.
He knew. Yeah, and that's why, like, too, with Pippin, when Pippin's like, what is he doing? He's like, he's leaving. And then that decision, like, I love that. And also, too, can we talk about when Gadriel is talking with Pippin, or I don't remember exactly what it was, but someone talks to Pippin about him needing more courage or gaining his courage or something like that. It is Gadriel, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw his courage when he jumped on the damn orc thing.
Well, so
You mean the troll?
Troll, yeah, the troll
cave
thing.
troll. So I was gonna ask you, is that your best scene, the Boromir deal at the end?
Well,
See, I'm between two.
Because my best scene is the tomb of what's his name, Gimli's cousin.
Mhm.
That's my best scene, my
Balin's
favorite scene in
tomb?
this movie.
Yeah.
What's the name?
Balin.
Balin, the tomb
Mhm.
of Balin, the battle there. Or, as I've just decided, we can also call it the Battle of the Little People. Because this is when the hobbits show their courage
Yeah.
and show that they're game, and this is the coming out party of Gimli.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the Battle of the Five Little People.
Yeah.
I mean, Legolas is really the one who takes care of the cave troll, but the reason everybody survives that fight, besides the Elvish chainmail on Frodo, is Merry and Pippin.
Mhm.
What was that?
It's Dwarven chainmail. It's Mithril chainmail.
Oh, it's Dwarven.
Yeah, Dwarven.
It was given to Bilbo by Thorin
Mhm.
in the original Hobbit movies,
Mhm.
which we don't see until.
Right.
Doesn't he? I thought he said when he gives it to Frodo, he says it was made by the elves. I thought he said.
Sting is made by the elves.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Sting was made by.
That's
the
why it
elves.
glows blue when the orcs
Mhm.
show up.
No, but that scene I do think is pretty amazing, and I do appreciate that.
And we get the now famous line, "You fool of a took,
Oh yeah.
fool of a took."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fool of a toque.
But I will say,
Throw yourself down next time and rid us of your stupidity.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an amazing. I
And
appreciate.
Mary's just like just super embarrassed.
Yeah, and I appreciate too that Mary,
Is a
that-
complete idiot the whole time
yeah, well, him
until
and
the
Pippin.
very end of the movie.
Like him and Pippin, like their comedy is amazing. Like
I'm sorry,
honestly,
Pippin is an idiot. Mary's
Yeah,
the smart
Mary's
one.
the smart one.
So Pippin says in the beginning in the council meeting when they were all three of the hobbits were all hiding in on the meeting, when they come out and say you're gonna need some people of intelligence on this sort of mission,
Yeah.
Yeah.
quest thing. And it's obviously a joke, like that he's the fucking one who brings the goblins to them in the tomb in the first
Yeah,
place.
exactly.
But in Two Towers, he's also the one who rips off his clasp and spits it on the ground because he knows if Aragorn finds it or is looking for them, they're
Mhm.
going to know they're on the right track.
Exactly.
So it does come back around where he
Well,
does smart shit.
So the great thing about Pippin, I feel like, is the most innocent in a way, because he's got that, like, he's like a child in the first one,
Mhm.
where he's like, he knocks down that thing, like, where are we going again? Like,
Mhm.
they're talking about the elvish bread, and Mary looks at him and goes, how many did you eat? He goes, 4, and then he has that burp. So it's like, in a way, it's like we see Pippin grow up, because by the
He
second
loses
one,
his innocence by the
yeah,
end of
that's
the
what's
trilogy.
happening.
Like,
Yeah,
he's-
yeah. In Two Towers, he's
They
lost
are-
it.
All 4 of them are supposed to be around their 30s, right?
Think
I
so.
believe they're
Somewhere
all
around there,
supposed to be
yeah.
around their 30s, but this is also a species that lives to be
200,
Bilbo's
300.
Bilbo's celebrating his 111th birthday,
Right.
and he's like, just a little bit past middle age at that point. So there would
Well, he
was-
got
No,
that-
Bilbo's. Oh, no.
Well, Bilbo looks that good because of the ring. So as soon as he gives up the ring and you see him
So
again.
do hobbits not live long?
No, they do, but
like-
the reason why he looked so young at 111 is because of the ring
Yeah.
giving him unnaturally long life.
But what's their lifespan's? What, about 200 years?
Like
No? My
200.
point is that
No, like
based on-
150, I think.
my
Yeah, 'cause he's
point-
like an
my point
old
is that
man in
based,
Rivendell.
based on their lifespan, like 30
It's probably
is equivalent to like
18,
13,
19.
14, 15 years old.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I guess I'd say like 16. That makes sense. Like around like 16, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
so they are kind of children, and they're smaller people,
Yeah.
and they don't come from people of adventure, or that's how
Mhm.
Bilbo came.
Yeah,
comes to be
become
who he
Bilbo.
is.
Yeah.
So they are the 4 of them do represent the innocence and,
Yeah.
and the purest of pure hearts. In
Yeah.
Middle-earth.
Absolutely. But with that scene, what it leads to, the Fly You Fools. That's got to be one of my favorite lines set in the entire movie.
We're talking about the Balin scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balrog,
Yeah. So that scene from when he turns around and it's Gandalf versus the demon, and he just looks at him and he was like, shall not pass, and puts the sword thing down. That entire scene, the whole Boromir stopping Frodo from moving towards Gandalf before he even falls, when it's just kind of that moment. But that moment on Ian McKellen's face of just I did it. Oh, yes, I did it. All right, we can breathe for a second. This thing's not after us. And he turns, and that whip just comes up and whips. And I think it's just one of the best scenes in the entire film. And then that struggle that he has for a moment, and then looks at them and just goes, "Fly, you fools," and falls. And that's a Shakespearean line. That's from Macbeth, which I told him last night. There's a scene in Macbeth when I can't remember what the dad's name is, but the son's name is Benvolio, and they're riding off to somewhere to kind of foil the plot, and riders are after them, assassins. So they end up in this battle with these assassins, and the father looks at Benvolio and says, "Fly, Benvolio, fly," and he takes off to survive. And it's kind of a little, I think it's a little homage to that, because where else would you get fly you fools? That's a huge, that's so known in Shakespeare too, that line. But also what the meaning of the line is in Shakespeare is very polar, parallel to what's happening in the scene. But
you know what I don't get? And it's such a minor thing when it comes to that scene. And I don't want to take away from the significance of that scene, because what it leads to is majorly significant, which we don't find out until the second movie. But someone could have went down there and grabbed them.
So I think two things are happening there in Gandalf's mind.
Aragorn, Legolas, Boromir, literally anyone could have just went down there and been
only a few minutes before this, because this is something I meant to bring up. The entire time they're walking, from the minute they leave the council, similar to how wolves walk, one of the leaders is in front. The biggest badass is in the back, and that's Aragorn. Moments before this, when they know the Balrog is coming, Gandalf switches with Aragorn and tells him to keep going no matter what. So, that's kind of the simple answer for why. And probably also, even if you did think that you could go get him, was it worth the risk? Are you gonna?
We don't know that demon's dead.
Not even Gimli knows enough about these mines to really know where they're going.
And they were also getting shot at by goblins. So okay, that's fair.
My feeling about that scene, his thought process in that scene is that when he's standing there.
You mean when he's hanging there?
Hanging there, yeah. It's one of those things where, I could have one of them help me, but we don't really know that this guy's gone. That's the first thing. We think he is, but magic is magic. There's open doors. The second thing is, with magic, we know Saruman has turned. He can't really be the white wizard anymore, because of darkness has started to seep into him.
So do you think Gandalf in that moment?
Gandalf knew that by sacrificing himself, not necessarily he'd become the White Wizard, but that he would resurrect. I think that's a magic thing too, because when you study magic and you study that type of thing, which is kind of what this is based in, it's based in all natural magic. If you talk about past lives, the whole point of shadow work and past life regression is to reach enlightenment. So if you're in this lifetime and you start doing shadow work and doing past life regression and learning about your other past lives, the whole point of that is to kind of assimilate your mind with them. It's kind of like Assassin's Creed, in a way. That's the whole point of it. And
I can't wait to go back and finish it.
Which I bought the Switch and I'm playing it on the Switch. It's goddamn amazing. But anyway, I digress. When you to simulate mind, you learn all the knowledge of everyone that you've ever lived, and it will give you that it will get you that much closer to enlightenment, which is the final goal, is all knowing. And when you get to that level of all knowing, you no longer reincarnate. Now you are a guide, and you guide the new lives going through and everything and help them that way. So that's the theory of it. And I think that's where Gandalf's mind was when he did that. I think he said it's worth the risk.
I guess we'll never really know.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Also,
We can't really ask Tolkien hey man, what was the inspiration by him?
Yeah.
When Gandalf makes that switch, he tells Aragorn, there's no use for your sword here. And then I could be wrong about this, but when then he falls to his supposed death. If you hadn't read the books, I don't know, I never did before I saw the movies. you assume that Gandalf's dead, and then we open Two Towers, and he goes down there and he grabs the sword in midair. Does he not kill the Balrog with the sword?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So I thought about that today. I was like, that's kind of fucking funny. He winds up killing it with the sword anyway.
Well,
Well, he's
sword
magic,
and
though.
magic.
Yeah. Well, I never
So-
got to finish my then and now. Legolas is a kid, Gandalf now. Gandalf's the man, dude.
I mean, yeah, Gandalf's
I
pretty
mean, yeah.
amazing.
But I feel like, yeah. I mean, if, like, sure, I'd love to have the powers of the Gandalf, but I feel like that's like Gandalf the Grey, maybe. Cause he's
Gandalf
like
the White, I'm talking. I'm talking Gandalf the White and Shadowfax.
Ooh, Shadowfax
As
is
a team.
badass.
You know that who's also pretty amazing? Gadriel.
Yeah, you know
We
what
don't
it
get
is?
enough of her,
Is
though.
I feel like specifically in Lord of the Rings, I don't want to associate myself or put too much faith in people with magic because, like they said, the time of the elves is leaving, so there's really not going to be much magic left in the world. So you got to put your faith in men and dwarves.
Right.
Dwarves have some magic, but not like the elves do. So you know, I would rather be someone like Gimli who is just like, I'm just gonna charge at you and I'm just gonna fucking kill you with my fucking axe. Like
Natural born sprinters.
Very
dangerous.
That's
That's Two Towers, and it's my favorite line in the entire series.
it's such a good one, and
Natural born sprinters.
it's such a good line that it's in my description on my Instagram.
That's amazing.
Very dangerous over short distances. Great.
Natural sprinter.
Yeah, no, I mean, well,
I'm going to take this over and move it on to heat check.
Ooh, okay.
First question with the heat check. Is there a heat check? Because this is a movie that has about at least 9, we'll call it, with Saruman and whatever, and Gollum, whatever else, we'll say 11 or 12 central characters
right.
that it all focuses on.
Mhm.
And there's not much outside of that besides basically NPCs, right? Like,
Right.
does Pippin count? Because if he does, it's him. I know he has a lot of screen time, but he has enough, like, lines in comparison to everyone else where I feel like I might let him qualify. But if it's not him, who is it? Because, like,
Well,
you could say Elrond's definitely eligible.
I was gonna say Elrond. I would say Gadriel.
Liv Tyler.
You could say her. I mean, I think we're slowly.
Bilbo.
Oh, you could give it to Bilbo.
Yeah.
I would
Bilbo's
argue
eligible.
Bilbo.
Anybody who's, like, from the first act and a half.
Yeah, because after
You
that, it's
could
pretty
argue.
solely on the main crew.
Anybody you see in the Shire in the beginning.
Mhm.
Like, all of those people, obviously, count.
I
but-
think I'm gonna give my heat check to the elf that finds them in the woods, specifically because he absolutely roasts Gimli.
Oh, that's right. That was
dwarf
right.
was
Is that
breathing
not the
so-
cousin
That's
from Two Towers? It looks
yeah,
like the same
no,
guy.
it is. It's
Yeah.
the same guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of his name?
Oh,
Not the actor, the character.
No, no, no.
yeah.
I-
It's not Faramir, is it?
No, Faramir is
Faramir's a
Boromir's
man, right?
brother.
Yeah.
Crap. You only
I
hear
don't
his
have a
name
phone,
when he
you can
arrives. Whatever. But yeah, no, I'm gonna give it to him because he just shows up like an absolute boss and is like, we could have just killed all of you because this dwarf was breathing so loud. We could have shot him in the dark.
Yeah, that was a great line. I would probably say.
Which follows up right after he's saying something about
Yeah,
how-
he's like, I have the sharpest eyes and the sharpest ears and all this stuff,
no
and
one's
then
gonna catch us
no
'cause
one's
I
gonna
have
catch him
the
Yeah,
off
best-
guard,
yeah.
and then he's shoots
Yeah.
the arrow in his face. Yeah, it's so good.
I would give it to him. I would.
There's a
definitely-
lot. There's a lot. You could say Galadriel. I mean, she gave, like, all the things that she gave them are so crucial in the rest of the movies.
Well, I also think too that scene with her and Frodo where he's
So
like,
good.
"Take
when
it, take
she
the
turns
ring."
into the demon,
Oh.
and then I passed the test.
Yeah, that's-
yeah.
I mean, first off, she's beautiful as the
Yeah.
demon. Like she's scary, but she's stunning to look
I
at.
mean, Gimli said literally he would never call anything fair unless it's her hair.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense. And Kate Blanchett's a beautiful woman too. But
She is. She's a total bombshell and Don't Look Up.
Even now, Kate Blanchett's still good looking.
she's,
Yeah.
she's amazing, and she's an amazing actress. So like,
She is a
she's
great actress.
top tier.
Shout out Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, seriously, if you're watching this, give us a call. We got some roles for you. Listen, I will write her whatever she
We're gonna
wants.
pay you in hugs.
We're just gonna pay you and me staring at you awkwardly because I can't imagine you here. It's gonna be like one of those, you know, like
In this basement.
yeah. Imagine I'd be like, She's real. You know, like, we lock the door, everyone lock the door. Like, but I honestly like I would give it to him because I'm not used to this seat, all right? I look like a mess. It's been a rough couple days. It's been rough since Friday. But he's not like in a lot, so it's like you don't get much of him. You only get that one line versus her. She does qualify for the heat check, and you do get a lot in what she's given you.
Mhm.
Like there's so much in those little moments there. So I mean, she's I think a better argument for it than him, but I wouldn't be mad giving it to him because it is a line that stays with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I like Kate Blanchett.
We're gonna give it to Kate.
I think we give it to Kate.
Kate Blanchett gets the
Okay.
heat check for Fellowship of the Ring.
Kate,
Most quotable, best quotable line or scene.
one does not simply walk into Mordor.
There's so many.
There's so many
lines.
better ones. Like no one tosses a dwarf.
Yeah,
Not the beard.
not the beard. Yeah, like literally right after that.
No, I know, but like there's something about that line that's always kind of just stuck with me. Like I love that one. But honestly, my favorite line probably is Fly You Fools. I think there's just so much behind that line.
I think my favorite line, and you're gonna hate this because it's from Boromir, but it's the line that he delivers right before he dies to Aragorn.
Oh, that's a good.
Which is
I would have followed you to the end,
Yeah.
my captain, my
Yeah.
king, and then he just dies. I think that is the immediate moment he redeems himself as a character, and then he immediately dies.
I think he redeemed himself when he gets the couple hours and keeps fighting. I think.
Yeah, I
that's-
think that
I think that whole scene is.
But I think
his
him
redemption arc.
accepting and acknowledging Aragorn, someone who you see blatantly on screen, they don't have a good relationship, as his king, and then after he, fucking yeets himself off the waterfall, Aragorn attaches the bracer from Gondor that has the tree on it. I think that's where you kind of start to see him accept who he is
Yeah.
and what he's going to eventually play in this entire story and epic.
Yeah, I
so,
think that's great too at Gadriel when she says you have a choice to make too.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that best quote. That one sticks out to me every time I watch the movie.
What about second breakfast?
Afternoon
11s? Lunch? Supper?
Afternoon
Dinner?
tea.
I don't think he knows about any of that.
Just
I
gets
don't think he
dinged
knows
with an
about
apple.
second
Yeah, I don't think he knows about second breakfast.
breakfast. 11s?
Yeah, that's a good line too. No, but I do think my favorite line probably comes from Two Towers. Potatoes.
Well, we're talking about
I
Fellowship,
know,
so stay
but-
in
but
Fellowship,
that-
okay?
All right. No, I probably honestly like that line's amazing. There's a lot of amazing lines. A lot
There's
of what
so many.
a lot
there's
of
so
what
many in this movie.
Gandalf says too is so
Oh.
powerful.
He has a very Dumbledore-esque quote in this movie when Frodo says that I wish the ring never found me. I wish this wasn't my problem or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget exactly what he says.
I think it's something along
But-
the lines of,
It's a very Dumbledore-esque
it's
quote.
like many people feel that way, but all we can do is make sure we do the best with the time we are given. or
Yeah, it's
like
something
that.
amazing
along the
like
lines of
that.
Super, yeah, you're right. Very Dumbledore-esque.
I forget what Bilbo says in the beginning, right before he's about to put on the ring, but that's a great line too, where he's like, "I hate half of you, and I dislike." the
Oh
rest of you,"
yeah,
or
he's
something
like, I
that.
like half of you more than I. I'm
No,
not
it's
even-
a diss. It's a diss on both levels, and he's like, "Right," and everyone's like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
a great line
yeah,
too."
yeah.
And Gandalf's reaction to that, realizing that, I think too, the scene when we first meet Aragorn, when he's just creeping in the fucking bar,
Mhm.
and Pippin's like, "I know Frodo. He's my second cousin twice removed on my mother's side," or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and like that's a great scene
Shut
too.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
when he falls and gets the ring, that's the classic. That I feel like that scene, everyone like that sticks out in everyone's
Oh,
mind.
where he's
When
falling
that
down.
first scene, yeah, when it happens, I think, and it's such a smart shot, the way it's all handled, it's pretty.
Also, I
amazing.
think one of my favorite shots in the whole thing is the pan zoom when they're on the road and the riders are coming. So good. A well executed pan zoom
Yeah.
lends so much to a scene. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, there is. Oh, there is one scene though when they're fighting the troll right before they realize it's the troll, and Boromir's right at the door, and the two arrows come in. Something about
They have a cave troll.
yeah,
It's wonderful. or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
that line.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. They brought a cave troll with them. Lovely.
Yeah, no,
like that.
yeah, that line too is fantastic. A nice little Boromir thing. But
Oh, in that same scene, Gimli on top of the tomb. There's one dwarf left in Moria that still draws breath, and he just absolutely
yeah, it's a
he's
good line
hulking up.
too.
That's him hulking up
Yeah.
on top of
Yeah.
the tomb.
just going Super Saiyan real quick. It's like,
Where
let's
does
go.
Gimli store all of his axes, by the way? Because he just like...
I think he just has them both on his back. Well, he carries one on his back, and then he carries
Oh,
one.
I guess they're standing in the tomb where all of these dwarves died. Because in this scene, he's
got two.
He's throwing them. He's
Yeah.
picking axes up and
Yeah,
throwing
'cause
them.
they're
and
all over the
breaking.
room. Yeah.
So I guess he's
It's
picking them up.
that's what they say. Like when they first walk in, he's like, it's not a cave,
But
it's
so,
a
like,
grave or whatever.
They
it is.
say
tomb.
he says this isn't a mine, it's a tomb.
Yeah, that's it. It's not this isn't mine, it's a tomb, and,
And
that's
that's when they
heartbreaking.
realize that there's bodies all over the floor.
Yeah.
And Gimli has like the holy shit moment.
The
But it's not until he
existential
sees
crisis.
the actual kill of his
Yes.
cousin where he really goes Super Saiyan on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he
And-
reaches 9,000.
So the reason I bring this up is if either one of you ever played the Lord of the Rings games,
Oh yeah,
like the movie games, you
classic.
could cycle between, I believe, at least in the Fellowship of the Ring
Mhm.
game, you could pick between Gimli, Legolas, Aragorn.
Yeah, you could pick between
Those
the
are the
three.
three. And basically, like, you have your melee attacks,
Mhm.
and Legolas has those little swords, the little short
Yeah,
elvish.
yeah,
I guess they're really long knives.
Like
and
daggers.
then everybody has a projectile attack. And Aragorn obviously also has a bow
Mhm.
that he uses. Gimli just throws little throwing axes. So that's why I bring up where is he getting all these axes.
Axis, yeah.
Because in the game, you just press like whatever L2 or whatever it is for the projectile, and he's got a little throwing axe, and he just throws little throwing axes at
amazing.
people. And then by Return of the King, I think when you could play as more characters, Gandalf shoots white like magic blasts
Mm.
out of the staff.
Yeah.
Great. They were
Yep.
pretty great movie adaptation games.
Yeah, they were good
I think
games. I
that's-
played the hell out of them on PS2.
Another amazing scene though is right after Gandalf's death. Like that, literally directly after
Yeah.
when they're all mourning, the music, the cinematography, the shots, the
Silent crying.
yeah, like first you see Sam and then you see Merry and Pippin destroys you. Like seeing Pippin so emotional.
Frodo destroys you.
Well, but that's even later though.
Gandalf's their hero.
I know. Well, he's also their friend.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's like their big uncle. You know,
He's like the only non-Hobbit that regularly spends time in the Shire, and he's like their connection to the world
Yeah.
outside of the Shire. Besides Bilbo, obviously.
but it's different because Gandalf wants to spend the time with them.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
they know
And
that.
he
But
comes, he brings the gifts for all the kids.
Yeah.
And he always has stories, and he's like, he is like their uncle.
yeah, and I mean, but that's the thing too is like the way they pace it is so smart because first they show you, I forget who they first show, but first you see Sam, like Hobbit wise. First you see Sam.
Merry, Pippin, and then Frodo.
Right. No, I know that, but between Merry and Pippin and Frodo, you see Legolas. And Legolas's reaction is also amazing, and that's testament to Orlando Bloom's acting because Orlando Bloom's a phenomenal actor too. Actually,
Great. He
it-
did great in this movie.
yeah, and Carnival Row, which just came out recently, which you've never, you kind of watched it, parts of it when I was watching
I
it,
don't know
but
what that is.
that was the one with Cara Delevingne and him. He was the inspector.
Mm.
Yeah, it was. You would really like it. It's fantasy. Really amazing because he's older now, and it's like he's got a bit of that swagger to him.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I think that scene is just. It's heartbreaking. Even thinking about it now, like I get emotional, and fucking Aragorn being the boss and being the king and saying, "Get them up," and Boromir's a
Give
moment.
them a moment
Oh
to
my
grieve for
god,
pity's sake.
like that, and plus you just had Gimli grieving, so it's a loaded sentence because not only are they all grieving Gandalf, but Gimli's grieving his species.
Well,
in a
just
way.
that city.
Just that tribe. Yeah.
Just that city.
Yeah, but I mean, like, well, I guess because there's more that happens, but it's still an emotional thing because like this is like these are his people that are just they've been slaughtered. You know, and so I think that scene is just really powerful.
Dig too greedily and too deep.
That's neither here nor there.
I also feel as if that line from Boromir, to me, makes little to no sense because up until this point, he hasn't been shown. He's only been shown as like the ruthless, bitter, aggressive type. Like he's the
Right.
last guy who should be being like, "Oh, give them a second."
But that's the point of it.
yeah,
is
I
that
guess, but
no?
yeah,
but
he has that whole scene where he's teaching him to fight.
oh
like,
yeah,
which
that's
I
a great
love
scene
the
too.
scene when he's teaching.
Yeah.
He's like playing around, and you know
and
he's
then
got
he
some.
nicks Pippin's hand, and they start kicking him. And
Yeah.
hitting him with the sword.
And then they
And
get Aragorn.
gets in
Yeah.
there, and he
Everyone's
just
smoking his little elf pot and laughing at him. That shit's definitely getting them high when they're smoking the pipes, right?
Oh, probably.
it's pipe weed, yeah,
100%.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. So, I mean, there's an overt reference to it in the second movie, right at the end, after the whole battle of Saruman's tower,
Mhm.
where Merry and Pippin find that whole barrel, and they start smoking, and they're just like laughing hysterically as the smoke's
Yeah.
coming out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I never. That never clicked as good.
Toby.
We got to keep it moving though. So we any more
All right. Well, what would we say? Well,
scenes or quotes?
The whole movie. Everything.
council scene's great though too.
Council scene is
Council,
good.
council scene.
Council scenes are-
Council scene's the
One
first
does
real
not
moment
simply
we
walk into
realize.
Mordor.
Yeah, just that
Well,
line.
well, I said today before when you guys first got here that I always in my head feel like this movie starts at the council scene, and today I realized it's just about halfway through the movie.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean it really because you know what that see this is the thing about trilogies, and so same with series is you have to understand the overlapping arc. So you have to understand the arc of the entire series, and that inciting incident. I totally blanked on that. The inciting incident in the film starts when Frodo gets the ring, or I guess you could even argue when Bilbo puts the ring on his finger and disappears. But the inciting incident of the entire series is probably that council scene.
Meeting.
Yeah.
I would agree, and then I would argue the torture of Gollum. Because that happens before anything. That's what sends the riders to the Shire. That's what sends Frodo to
I
Bree.
guess
That's
that
what
is the
sends.
true inciting incident of the.
Yeah. They captured
but
Gollum and
at
tortured
that
him.
point, their only task is to get the ring to Rivendell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Even at that point, they're thinking they're going to Rivendell and they're going back home to the Shire.
True.
Yeah,
These heroes that Gandalf has told us all about, and we've heard all these. They're gonna go make sure we're safe. We're gonna go fucking farm,
Yeah.
and drink, and what are they? Hobbits just fucking get high, get drunk, and farm. That's all they do.
yeah, pretty much.
Shit,
Giant party.
sleep. Yeah, all their parties.
They're hippies.
They're hippies.
They're literally hippies.
They're
They are
literally
yeah.
fucking hippies.
Um,
Staying on their communes, not
Yeah,
worrying
and
about
think
the world
about
of
it.
big folk.
this was written in '57, so those are definitely hippies.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I would say that the torture of Gollum is the inciting incident of the first movie.
The whole first movie, yeah.
Yes, of
Yeah.
Fellowship. That is the inciting incident. I almost blanked on that actually. I don't know
Mhm.
why I thought that was later, but yeah, that would be
But
the
yeah,
inciting incident.
The inciting incident on the entire journey is the council
Yes,
meeting.
100%.
Yar.
So I mean, you could argue now the council scene because of its importance.
Well,
of
yeah,
the
without that, you don't
entire-
get the. You
don't get anything.
You have my bow, and my axe,
and my sword.
and my sword. Yeah.
Sword first.
Yeah, let's start
Sword, bow, axe, and then you see Gandalf smiling. Right? Is it Gandalf or Elrond who smiles after he realizes that? Because they just spent the last at least 5 minutes on film. God knows how much time, real time, like in storyline, is supposed to be that meeting. But the whole thing is bickering. I'll die before I let an elf take the ring. Never trust an elf.
Yeah.
And they're all bickering back and forth about who should do it. And then once Frodo, who is the light amongst darkness,
Mhm.
stops the fight and takes, they all instantly are like, "Oh, we're gonna team up now." And it's either Gandalf or Elrond. You see them-
Gandalf is upset because he didn't want Frodo to
Right.
go. Elrond is like, oh thank God. Like Elrond has that moment, like that smirk,
Mhm.
because he knew that.
even Gandalf doesn't want Frodo to go, but he says, I will guide you as
Yeah.
long as it's your burden to bear."
Yeah,
He
yeah.
himself also knows he cannot take the ring.
Yeah, of course.
And he knows Aragorn couldn't take it either.
None of them can.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, in
that's
reality.
literally the whole scene with Galadriel.
Well,
She
you need to have the purest of heart to be able to withstand that evil.
Right.
And that's why the only two people ever known to have successfully carried the ring without becoming totally evil are Bilbo and Frodo Baggins.
Right. Yeah.
Frodo,
I
with the
mean-
help of Sam, was G, the true hero of the entire trilogy.
Oh, agree. Agree. Sam is amazing.
Before we keep going, we're going to take a break. All right. We're here. We got to talk to you about Stay Thirsty for a minute. All right. In October, We had a special promotion going on. Droptober, you had brand new products every week in the month of October. For the holiday season, we got a little something different going on. Isn't that right, Jack?
Yes, sir. This holiday season, we're going to have a mystery box for you guys. You're going to use code HAVOC to get 15% off. Get a mystery box. You're going to give a gift to yourself while you're giving gifts to the people you care about.
Stay thirsty, Co. Drop the OY and focus on you. All right, we're back. As always, best way to support the show is to support the sponsors. You can also check us out on socials at HOH Podcasting on Instagram. Like, share, help us out with
Comment.
the algorithm.
Yeah. Also, go comment on our Spotify and Apple Music podcast, whatever it's called, because that also helps our algorithm. Ooh. Algorithm.
Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music.
Yeah, all that stuff.
iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you can get a podcast, we're there. It's time to do best performance. Now, this one's hard because all of the acting in this movie is very good. Part of me wants to go Vigo because I do appreciate the full-blown methodness that he took. Carried his sword everywhere with him, patched his own costume whenever it ripped.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty deep. That's
That
pretty
is-
deep.
He carried his sword everywhere he went on set. He never broke character, and he patched his own costume when it would rip.
See, like, I'm not crazy about method acting or method actors. First off, I think you get
So Daniel
stuck in them.
Day-Lewis sucks?
No. The performance that it portrays is amazing. I'm talking about off screen.
When
Oh.
when
Like
you're,
dealing
when you're
with
Heath
them.
Ledger and you're like fucking with people, or Jared Leto
And giving dead rats or whatever the fuck
Jared
he did.
Leto put dead rats in people's like lockers and shit.
Yeah,
that,
like shit like that. Like there's a line, and like for me, when like dealing with acting and specific actors, but when I have to act, I don't want to be stuck in that character. Like if I'm playing Cersei, I don't want to be stuck in that character. I already partially am stuck in that character, but like not fully. I don't fully want to be like that, you know. And I think like someone like Bull the Butcher, Jesus Christ, Bill the Butcher. That's a wild ride. Like his wife had a tough time. His wife had a tough time with Lincoln. I know that for a fact.
Is Bill the Butcher's weird cousin that nobody
Bull
talks
the
about.
Butcher should be a limited series.
Bull the Butcher.
Toss a coin to your bitcher.
Every episode starts with him just opening the door from work. You're like, honey, you're never gonna fucking guess what happened today. You're never gonna guess what Jerome did today.
Where does he work? Does he work in the bullpen?
Just the mill.
Just the mill.
You just call it the mill and leave it at that. Like, never gonna believe what happened at the mill today.
No, he should be like a bullfighter. Make it real interesting.
No, his name's just Bull.
His name's just Bull.
Because he's full of it.
Yo! Oh, I think we just created a show. Look at that.
Gave it away for free.
Coming up soon.
Copyright
House of
2021.
Havoc Networks. Bull the Butcher.
Copyright trademark.
Yeah, seriously.
I think Ian McKellen, definitely.
Easy.
Orlando Bloom
Easy.
is definitely in the conversation. John Rhys Davis is definitely in the conversation.
Christopher Lee.
Billy Boyd.
Oh, God, so good. Billy.
Not Sean
Billy.
Astin. Not Sean Astin. I don't think he fits
No,
the
Sean
mold
Astin
here.
doesn't really shine until movie number
Yeah.
2.
No, I wouldn't put any of the
I think-
hobbits.
No, Billy Boyd is in the
I'm
conversation.
sorry.
for
I
me.
meant like the 4. Like
Billy Boyd is Pippin.
I think I had an aneurysm or something there. I don't know who the fuck I thought you guys were talking about.
Sang. I think he sang the song for The Hobbit, didn't he?
Ah.
Huh?
Didn't he sing Over the Misty Mountain for The Hobbit? Wasn't he the one that did that?
I think so.
Yeah, it might have been him. And then you had
The
Ed
two of those
Sheeran.
idiots have a podcast together too.
So
Billy
good.
Boyd
Have you
and Tom-
listened to it?
No, I haven't.
It's hilarious. There's it's literally like listening to Mary and Pippin do a
Oh, it's
podcast.
amazing.
It's incredible. I think so. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out there. I already know who mine is, and I
Go
had
ahead.
this. It's definitely Ian McKellen.
Yeah, I think,
100%.
yeah.
I think his entire performance is so good, and it's what makes his death hit so hard
Mhm.
because he drops all of those great pieces of wisdom. He literally gets his ass kicked by Sauron.
Yeah.
Saruman, sorry, not Sauron. And,
He's
puts it
spinning.
all on the line, and then comes back and is like, "Don't worry, I got you." To the point where he literally sacrificed himself fighting a giant monster demon thing made of shadow and flame.
Yeah, amazing.
So
I think also too. Can we
shout out Sir Ian McKellen. Also,
There's
Kate
an
Blanchett,
amazing.
honorable mention.
What?
Kate Blanchett, honorable mention. Yeah,
Well,
that
I,
whole-
mean, I think we've just. I think this might be a love podcast to Kate Blanchett at this point. But right in the mine fight. There's a great scene with Aragon when he like does like a double punch and then like I don't. It's like not even a back. It's like a side punch, and
Yeah.
it's just amazing. It's just that you talking about the scene made me think of it. But I would probably say Ian too.
You're talking about the tomb fight?
The
The fight
yeah,
in the tomb, he stabs an orc in front of him with the left hand and then goes like this and punches an orc behind
but
him.
it's two. He does 1-2 punch, and it made me
it's-
laugh. It was a good
you
combo.
sure it's 1-2 or stab twist?
Nope, it's definitely down
Still?
twice. It's
Yeah, but then
definitely
he
down
turns and
twice.
punches the orc behind him without really looking.
Yeah, amazing.
Pulls
amazing.
the Hawkeye, the original Hawkeye shot.
Mm,
I think it's Ian McKellen, or I really do like Orlando Bloom in this movie because
he's really
It's a
good.
quiet performance,
he
but
does a
it's
lot
good.
of great physical acting. Like every time he's using his elf eyes,
Yeah.
he's telling a story with his face.
Yeah.
Almost every time he's doing it, and I do love the physical acting. But he's also all the time. He's Orlando Bloom as a whole, also as the character Legolas. He's always acting with his face,
Mhm.
even when he's not the focus of the shot, like most of that council meeting. Other
True.
reason that I like Orlando Bloom is because he's good at all the serious acting and he's a believable character and all that great stuff. All the reasons I like Ian McKellen. But he's also like his dynamic with Gimli on top of the Merry and Pippin.
Mhm.
Great comic relief as well.
Yeah.
See, part of me wants to say I want to watch the Two Towers because I might give it to Legolas in the Two Towers
So
because it's more in
well,
the Two Towers.
the reason, but at least I feel the reason that it feels that way is because they're split up now.
No, I agree.
So they're not on the screen at the
Mhm.
same time. So like Merry and Pippin are the obvious butt of the joke throughout the entire movie,
Mhm.
series rather. And they're all on screen largely together this entire time.
Right.
So then once they break off, you have Gimli and Legolas breaking up the one story. Merry and Pippin, the whole thing is comedic relief with the trees. And then Samwise is probably
Trees.
I will say though, Mary,
the tree herders.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, no.
Mary in the second movie is solid, especially when after all that time, spoiler alert if you didn't see the movie.
It came out in 2002. or something.
When the Ents basically decide, fuck your war, and he just gives this whole passionate, like, are you fucking dumb? Like, if they win, you guys are screwed.
Mhm.
And he just is the whole time trying to convince this Ent to, like, you got to do it. You got to
Yeah.
do it. You got to do it. And then it's his idea, I believe, right, to go south back towards Isengard as opposed to, I guess, north or, west, wherever they were going. And he was like, the Ent is like, why would we go that way? And he's like,
Yeah,
I
think
forget
you're
the
right, it
reason
is
he
him.
gives him. He's
Mhm.
like, okay. And then he starts
Yeah, yeah,
lumbering
yeah.
south. And then eventually he sees the just absolute destruction of the forest. So I think Merry becomes a very important character in episode 2 of Star Wars in the second movie. But
No,
this
I
movie-
agree with that.
I'm going Ian. I do like the Orlando Bloom kick. I respect it.
Yeah, I'm going Ian.
All right. It's good enough for me. Kristen Stewart for worst acting.
Any of the elves that came
Ian
with
Holm.
Really
Which one's Ian Holm again?
Bilbo.
Bilbo.
I wouldn't give it to Bilbo.
Who would you give it to?
The doorman.
Sean Bean.
No.
No.
Stop with
Bean.
the. Okay, first off, we talk about Sean Bean and Sean Bean. Sean Bean and Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. Yeah,
Sean Bean and Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. And
and
It's bad character in Game of Thrones too.
Anyway, let's focus on
like
this movie.
this might
Let's focus
this
on
is
this
gonna be
movie.
a problem when we walk out of here. We may not talk for the rest of the night.
Okay.
That's like that hurt me a little bit. I love Sean Bean. Sean Bean.
Who doesn't love Sean Bean?
I mean, there is a good story. There's one time when we were playing like some type of charades game, and Boromir and Ned Stark were in the basket, and I literally pulled out and I got Ned Stark, and I'm like, and I was like Ned Stark, and then I pulled out Boromir like right after, and I was like, Boromir. I'm like, that's it. It was like one of those. But I appreciate too, Sean Bean just loves to die in things and loves to play a villain.
My favorite thing about that is that he acknowledges it in the movie The Martian, where he I forget he says something about the fact that he's there's a good chance that he'll probably die on this mission or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
okay. And then they name the team of people that's planning the mission to save Matt Damon.
Mhm.
They call it the Council of Elrond.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never actually really watched it.
Oh,
never seen it.
Great movie. Probably one of the most scientifically accurate sci-fi movies you will watch.
Heard.
And then it won Best Comedy at the Golden Globes, which was hilarious.
Dude, I can't with the Oscars and Golden Globes.
that
That's
was
such a
so
shit
stupid.
show.
Ridley Scott came up and he's like, I don't know why we won for Best Comedy, but thanks.
Yeah, I
He's just
appreciate the
really-
award.
There was like a good comedy. Like there was a couple of good comedies up that year too. Like it's
Yeah.
not like there weren't good
Yeah,
comedies.
I
up
have
there.
no idea.
It was stupid.
Um,
Sean Bean isn't the worst actor in this movie.
No.
I was just pushing buttons. I'm thinking, rattling my brain here and trying to really come up with.
no,
a
I
solid
literally
answer,
think
but
it's
I don't
the
know
doorman when they first go to.
who gets slaughtered by
Yeah.
the Nazgul.
Yeah, great kill. Love that one. Just stamp all over him. He kind of sucks. I think the innkeeper too. He kind of sucks when he's hiding there. He's like,
Yeah, I mean, bad acting. Any of the dead people in Moria. Useless.
what a waste of a shot.
I'm gonna give it to the one specific goblin at the end who fucking when they're shooting the arrows back and forth, he goes to like take cover behind a pillar. Like he does a 180, like a hop and a 180 to take cover as Aragorn's firing arrows at him. And he like does a hop and a 180 and like tucks like behind, like if this is the wall of the pillar, and he's like not really behind him. Like he tucks himself behind a pillar, but he's like Aragorn is straight in front of him.
Oh, you know who kind of annoys me?
And then I'm pretty sure he bites it right after that.
I think he does too. But you know who kind of annoys me? When they go see Kate Blanchett, that dude. I can't think of his name right now.
her like husband or whatever.
Whatever it is. Yeah, he kind of annoys me.
Nah, honestly, this is going to be so controversial, either in this room or to our viewers. But I think with enough screen time to be considered bad acting, because if somebody does something bad, like the innkeeper's on screen for like a total of 2 minutes, like it is what it is. But I think bad acting, and I don't know if this is the character or the actor or some combination of both, but I'm gonna say it's
You're gonna say Elijah Wood?
no.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that.
No, Elijah Wood does great.
I was about to be like,
Samwise.
no, I think it's character.
Not a good actor.
No,
Sean
but I
Astin.
do think it's the character though too.
It's rude about hot take alert. Hold on. Hot take alert. Rudy sucks. As a movie, as a character, the whole deal, it sucks. Don't at me.
Someone's gonna at you. But yeah, I think Sean Astin, Samwise, as a whole, like, I mean, I understand the role he plays as a overall figure and is super important to the trilogy. Also, that was terrible for the audio. My bad. I will say that it's probably the weakest performance in this movie specifically. Out of any character that has legitimate
See, I don't know,
screen
because
time.
I pop for Samwise in the fight. He's fucking taking goblins out with the frying pan.
Amazing. And then there's that scene too, like one of the first.
Yeah, but that's probably his
scenes.
stunt double.
No, I mean more the
We're
character.
talking-
than
yeah,
him.
we're not.
Oh
Talking...
no, I'm just talking about the acting.
No, but
No,
there's
I
also
think
that.
the only weaker acting, I think Dominic Monaghan probably has some weaker acting than Sean Astin.
So I
Mary?
think,
Yes, Mary.
yeah, you could say Mary, but I feel like too there's a good scene with Sam when they're hiding one of the first times Frodo wants to put on the ring, it's calling to him, and he just reaches over and grabs him. It's a really small, short scene. It's very quick. That part is very quick. That's not a small scene, but it's just smart, and I think he does a good job. I think given the material he's given and the character he's given, I think he nails it. I think he is supposed to be like that.
No, I don't like I said, I don't know, I mean, maybe it's not the character. I just
You don't
Out
like
of
him in
a-
50 First Dates?
he was great in Click though.
With the fucking shirt.
No, it's so good.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
I think out of any character that had major screen time in this movie, his performance is marginally the weakest. And I know what you're saying about what was his name? Dominic Monaghan, but all of his lines involved Pippin, and it was all like comedic banter, and I think Billy Boyd did a good job carrying those scenes, so you kind of like it's just funny, it's entertaining, it's good, it is what it is. But there's a lot of solo scenes with Sam or with say like serious acting scenes.
Well, I mean,
believable.
To be fair, like I wouldn't consider Frodo to be one of the worst actors at all, but he does annoy the shit out of me most times. And when I think it's a character thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I don't. It's not an Elijah.
But that
Wood
makes
thing.
it a good performance.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
not Elijah Wood thing, but
It's like
there's
a heel,
scenes where
it's like
he
a heel
fucking
in
pisses
wrestling.
me off.
Yeah.
Heel in wrestling's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
bruised just as
Like
good
I
as
think
getting
Sam
clapped.
is supposed to be lovable, and he just isn't. He's annoying.
I don't think he's annoying. I think that's
What are you talking about? He complains the whole time.
So does Frodo.
Yeah, but Frodo has a reason to complain. He's carrying the Ring of Doom.
So does Sam. He got dragged away from everything he ever
No,
knew because
he's
his
going with
friend
his-
needed help.
He's going with his boyfriend, Frodo on an
No,
adventure.
no, it's more like me going with you because you have to carry the ring across Mordor, and my hobbit feet are going to take us both. Okay? That's what
Okay,
it's like.
first of
And I'm
all-
going to bitch at you left and right. And I'm
You
gonna
are not
make
carrying me up that mountain.
Well, you know what I mean. It's a metaphorical thing. Metaphorically, I'm carrying you up the mountain.
Also, you wouldn't carry the ring because you're too dark.
No, I'm not carrying the ring. I could not carry the ring. That ring would just. I
No,
would.
we would have to
fucking-
keep the ring from you.
100%. 100%.
You can
but-
never be Sam.
No, I could. I could shut it off. I'm not Boromir. Okay, I could. For a friend, I could.
You're a Isildur.
Like,
Mighty enough to sever the finger of Sauron, take the ring,
And then
And
fuck off
then-
with it.
have a moment where I can get rid of this thing and end it, or I can take the power for myself, and you take the power for yourself.
you
I
know.
don't know. That's not meant to be a knock because I'm not over here calling myself
No,
Frodo.
I'm just gonna sit here and say.
I'm probably also a Isildur.
Well, no, the only thing I'm gonna say right now is that for years you fought me on not being a Slytherin, and then you make comments like that make me a Slytherin. Like,
I mean,
Well,
you are
well,
ambitious.
You have
I'm
Slytherin
ambitious.
tendencies, but you're
Mhm.
you're Hufflepuff. I won't say that you don't have Slytherin tendencies.
How's
but
she
I
a
think
Hufflepuff?
you're-
She hates people.
I'm an excellent finder.
That
She's
doesn't.
a Hufflepuff, dude.
No.
She's Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuffs
as
are
could
literally
be.
social butterflies. They like people. Emily hates people.
It's true. Can't stand them.
Exactly.
It's why I've had a rough couple of days. I've
Where-
had to deal with a lot of bullshit.
Where's the Hufflepuff common room? Right next to the kitchen.
Is it right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, they
because
are-
they
they are the
smoke because they
stoners.
smoke a shit ton of weed and love eating food and hanging out.
Emily would do that, but by herself.
Yeah, I do that by myself. Like, I'm-
Anyway, back on topic. I think I'm gonna give it to Sean Astin. I'm sorry. I love you, Sean, but I'm giving it to Sean Astin.
I will say the one scene in particular where I feel like if any you want to say it's bad acting on Sean Astin not being is the if I take one more step, this is the furthest I've ever been from home. It's a little rough.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's fair
I'm-
too.
I'm
Beautiful
going
cinematography
to-
though.
Beautiful shot.
Be amazing.
I'm going
amazing.
to
That's why it doesn't
pull a
matter.
rewind first here. I'm not giving this award.
I think that's fair because it's really hard to give this award.
You can take that back if you want to because I don't
Yeah,
think you knew
I
that
mean,
was an option.
Yeah, I mean,
I
if
think
that,
I kind of
if
just
that's
decided in the moment. I'm
You
not
got
going to
new
give
rules.
one.
Hey, house rules, new rules. That's how it's.
okay, so then yeah, no bad acting.
Yeah, it's just too much overall great acting.
Yeah.
There's
Mhm.
not one
There's a
person that I
reason
could
why
point.
it's
yeah,
beloved.
it's all out there. No one person I could point to and say, so I'm gonna go with none.
Mhm. I agree.
Okay.
What's next?
Marissa Tomei, best dressed. plenty of costumes to pick from.
Arwen.
In this one.
Yeah, I think it's gotta be Arwen.
She has like 3 or 4 different
Yeah.
costumes, and they're all
Amazing, and she's stunning. And this
Mhm.
is like not one of her first, but this was a big one for her.
hmm
Yeah,
You could also kind of give it to Elrond. Either one, because Elrond's whole outfit is just
I was thinking Legolas too, because he's got that whole like over like shawl that he's wearing. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But you know what I'm
Cloak?
talking about.
cloak.
Cloak's not what I'm. It's
Cape?
the cloak isn't what I'm talking
It's
about. It's like no, it's not the cape. He's wearing like a shawl around himself. In the council
It's like an
meeting.
infinity scarf or something.
yeah.
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, it's like there's a specific. I believe it's a Mexican style of shirt that is very similar to what he's wearing in
I
that
don't
scene.
remember. There's so much going on in those
It's
scenes.
like a
and
shawl sort
you
of a
have to-
deal. It's not the cloak or the cape.
No. I know what scene you're talking. I can almost picture it, but I'd have to look again.
But
honestly,
Arwen's fair though.
I would say her too, but though we have the most changes with her too, so we
Yeah.
see more of a style. Yeah, I'm going her absolutely.
That was the fastest award we ever gave out.
Well,
Rebel Wilson Showstopper Award. This is your scene stealer. There is no limit or restriction on how much or little they're in the movie, but this is for the person who every time they're on screen.
Pippin.
Pippin.
Yeah, it's Pippin.
Easy.
100%.
Maybe Pippin or Legolas. Or
Oh, it's Pippin.
it's gotta be Pippin. Actually, no. Well, no. This one's Pippin.
Yeah, no, it's
I
Pippin.
was gonna say Gimli's got some good scenes too, but I think he would be running for 2 or 3 more than this one. I would say Pippin than this one.
I agree.
Yeah, it's Pippin for me too.
That was an easy one.
That
Look
was
at
awesome.
us.
Back to back.
Zooming. It's because we're tired.
That's the final award. And bring it back to the rescoring. I'm leaving mine at a 9-0, I think. I'm not really going higher than that on this because, there's only so much room to go up from
Yeah.
9-0. And, after I finished watching the movie this morning, I was probably looking at like an 8-6 or an 8-7. So I did already kind of move it up from my initial thought. So I'm going to leave it at a 9. Love the movie. Love the series. If you know anything about me and you know how I feel about trilogies, you could tell me which one of these movies is my favorite. Any guesses?
2 Towers.
Got it. Bang.
Yeah.
Right on the head.
No, I knew
I'm a
that.
big fan of the
No
second
question.
movie in trilogies.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm at.
I have a follow-up question for you after we end the podcast.
That's fine.
I'm saying at an 8-8.
I'm gonna also stick it at 9-1.
Yeah.
I think with this movie, with what they wanted to accomplish, they did the absolute best they could.
Yeah, this is like Dune. This to me is exactly how Dune is handling it, where this is a true setup movie.
Mhm.
We have a full setup movie, and Dune did the same thing, and that's why Dune, I felt a little like, not lackluster, but I felt like I was missing something. It's because I'm missing the rest of the story.
Mhm.
And that's the same thing you kind of feel with
That's
this.
part of the reason the first Dune was such a clusterfuck is that they did all of it. in one
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, they're doing it right this time, and it's beautiful. And I think too, this movie, like I said, it holds the test of time. It's just absolutely amazing, and I think Peter Jackson's storytelling, his visual storytelling, is you could put this movie on silent and know what's happening. This is one of those films.
I think that's more. I think that also is a huge nod and appreciation to the actors, because
that
if you just did cinematography, you would be like, wow, this is a really beautiful place. Where is this? But it's the actors where you could turn off the audio and you'd be like, oh shit, this is bad. Oh, this is really
Right,
sweet.
but-
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, no, I know. But the reason I say Peter Jackson,
Especially Galadriel.
oh my gosh, she's amazing. But the reason I see Peter Jackson is Peter Jackson's captain of the ship. So that Peter Jackson's ship's not moving. So no, but seriously, that he's everything. He is the casting. He's this and that. No, of course we know there's other factors in that, and it's Hollywood. But at the end of the day, Peter Jackson's making the calls.
Sure.
He's saying that we've got that shot, we don't got that shot. He's talking to the actors and adjusting their performances and stuff like that. So without Peter Jackson, we don't have this. That's not to take away from everyone else and how amazing they are, but this is Peter Jackson's film, it's Peter Jackson's world. this is directed by Peter Jackson. We don't sit here and say, oh, well, you know, that's Viggo Mortensen's film. No, it's a Peter Jackson film.
True.
You know, so, and that's kind of like how I feel with, like, when we're talking, like, not James Cameron. Oh my gosh. Fucking Dunkirk. I can't even.
Christopher Nolan.
Jesus, Christopher Nolan. Yeah, I'm having a rough day today. I got my lidocaine shots. It's confusing me. Yeah, but Christopher Nolan, it's just kind of a similar thing where he's the captain of the ship, and it's completely Nolan's ship. In every fucking film, it's Nolan's ship. And I think just Peter Jackson, the way he handled the material, I think it's also a testament to Tolkien. Because it's his story, it's his visuals, it's his world, and you know, I mean, his stories, The Hobbit and all the Lord of the Rings, they to this day are amazing. If you read them right now, you'd be transfixed in them.
Speaking of the books, one of my friends, Maggie, shout out Maggie, she just read all of the books, I think a couple of months ago, for the first time.
Yeah.
Had never read them, knew about them.
Mm-hmm.
Love them, just couldn't put them down, and then was so excited to see the movies, and then was so thrilled with how well they did the movies, which very rarely happens with book adaptations.
Absolutely.
Especially one that's as dense as Lord of the Rings. So good job, Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, which I didn't get to say before, but in the scene at the end where they're fighting the Uruk-hai and the big guy with the face comes up and he's fighting Aragorn, and he takes the dagger out of his leg and throws it at him, and Aragorn knocks it with the sword. That's actually a real dagger.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's
Very
a real
cool.
metal dagger that he... Ding!
Look at that.
He really
Fucking
is.
Vigo.
Method.
We might have
Full
to bump
method.
Vigo up now.
Vigo's time to shine. Vigo's time to shine is Return of the King.
Oh
It's
my
true.
god. So
Yeah, it is true. I mean, he's
That's his
goddamn
movie.
amazing.
That's my
That's his.
favorite.
That's his. He's the main character in Return of the King.
That is my favorite
he
one.
is.
Out of all three of them is Return of the King.
I gotta
It's
rewatch
so
both of
good.
That's
them.
like the main character of Fellowship is Frodo. The main character of Two Towers, I would argue, is Gandalf the White.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And the main character of Return of the King is the king who is returning, Aragorn Allosaur II.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
And I also really enjoy the 12 endings that you got in the extended edition. It's really hilarious because every time it cuts to black and you're like, oh wait, no, there's more.
Yeah.
Return of the King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
have it,
When you guys get to that
How
one.
long's that one? Over 4?
Yeah, I think they're all roughly around the same, but I think that one's the longest at like
Yeah.
420 or something.
It's because of all
Blaze
those.
it.
endings.
the longest theatrical release.
What was
Alright.
that?
That one was the longest
Yes.
theatrical release.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts, anyone?
No, that's it. This was season 1. It's a hell of a ride. We will be back, like we said, for season 2. Going to do all book adaptations. So 16 book adaptation films. One more thing I will throw in there. I forgot to get this in. We were just talking about movies and movie theaters the other day. And both of my parents were trying to figure out when the last time they even went to see a movie was. And my mom is positive the last time she went to see a movie in the movie theater was The Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
On that
Yeah, I
New Year's
had the
Day
same
in
reaction.
2002.
Wow. That is quite a gap. That is literally going to be 20 years in a few days.
No, it was already. Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, for the actual
Mhm.
New Year's Day. Yeah.
Is that what it's like to be an adult? It's like that what it's like to get old. Is that what we are aspiring to be? here?
No.
Okay, good. I was
No,
making
have-
sure.
I'll never. I
I
don't think I'll
just
ever
make
turn
sure.
out to be like that because I just love the movie going experience. No matter like when COVID happened and they started releasing all of these movies where you could just buy them for $30 on Disney Plus or the Black Widow.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, are movie theaters done for good?" And I say nay because there are millions of people in the world just like me who love and appreciate the movie going experience. Now, I won't go see every movie in the movie theater if the option is also there for streaming because you don't got to put on pants, you don't got to leave the house, that whole bit. It's cheaper. But there are movies like any of the big Marvel movies, any of the big DC
First one I
movies.
saw was No Way Home. That's the first one I saw that in movie theaters since COVID.
Yeah, same.
It's the second movie I've seen in a theater since COVID, and I can't think of the first one.
Shang-Chi.
No.
No, you did go see something. I don't remember what it was.
I don't even think it was anything great because there wasn't even anything playing at the time.
Yeah,
it was
like
movie theaters just opened back up.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but
It was just to get in a theater, to have the soda and the popcorn, and
Not. I'm be honest with you.
$15 soda and popcorn.
Yeah, I'm not a movie goer. I love movies. I know it's really weird. It's really weird. But my feeling. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I have a reasoning for it. I don't like people. I don't like people in my space. I don't like people.
You're a Ravenclaw.
Am I every house at this point? I mean, my God.
Well, I mean,
Let me just show a Gryffindor trait real quick. Like fuck me. So.
volunteering to help me carry the ring. That's a very Gryffindor trait.
It is a Gryffindor. I am the mightiest.
Okay, Thanos. The Thanos of the Hogwarts house is here.
That's it. That's it. Voldemort who?
I think Ralph Fiennes would have a word with you.
I'll have a word with
Fiennes?
him.
I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
I mean, it kind of to me. I see his name and I see Phineas. I know that's not his name, but for some reason, just my dyslexia goes. It's Phineas. But no, I'm not like. There was a movie that we saw, 1917, where someone's phone kept ringing back, and then they talked on the phone, and all I could think in my head was, "This is a film that is going to change our entire industry if it works." As a filmmaker, I'm going to strangle you with my shoe tie.
That's not a regular movie going experience, though.
No,
That's
but
not-
it's no. I know, but it's a very specific thing. But it's the whole entire thing. It's the coughing, the whispering. It's the having people near you that you don't know.
Yeah, you must hate
And-
going to
That's
see
like-
Marvel movies then.
Well, I sat in between James and Anthony. Like I sat in between James and
Like,
Anthony. So
I mean, like if you went, like I went to go see No Way Home opening weekend, and that
Yeah,
theater,
so did we.
that theater got noisy and
That's
excited.
sort of like there's also the pop in a theater
Mhm.
when something good happens or something unexpected, and all of these people that you don't know, you would never see them again. You're never gonna talk to them again. You might not have anything in common, but
yeah, it's like a
whatever
drunk girl
movie-
in the bathroom.
whatever movie you're sitting there watching right now, you're both enjoying it for the first time in real time at the same time, and I think there's something nice about that.
Yeah, see, I guess I'm one of those people that like needs to like not needs to because I'm not rich, but if I had the money, I'd see the sports game in the box, and that's
gotta be in the stands with
no,
the fans.
no.
Let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on again.
Oh, of
Appreciate it.
course.
You're always
Love it.
invited whenever you're
Appreciate
in town,
it.
my man.
Love it.
We are brought to you by House of Havoc Podcasting, Tiger Pack Productions, Sachi Di Dinero, and Stay Thirsty Company. Peace out.
Later.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show, whatever movie it was about. This is a generic pre-recorded outro, but we hope you had fun. We sure do. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
And the only prescription is more cowbell. We will not go quietly into the night.
Stay gold, pony boy.
I will not die sober. Get those fucking loose.
That's all, folks.